Hi, I'm Tony. I am a professional video game comic book quilter. I do this for a living. What did you do after I was But you can't go in on top of that box because you're going to fall over. Oh, he wanted to go in the box. You're going to fall. No, no, no. Oh, no. Oh. He fell over. Yes, the defend is strong with this chat. Seriously, cat. Okay, Granite has got this weird thing where he goes and then throws up everywhere. Whoops! Oops! I scared. I scared the cat. What do you think you're doing? Oh, stupid mother. Yes, it's in a Y, and then you want to sew down. Ow! Oh my god, my funny bone, it's not funny, it hurts.
Computer, add a cat to my cart.
It looks like Amazon doesn't sell cats.
Oh my god, that's funny. I will dance.
Imagine seeing that on your television.
I know, right?
Just imagine.
Hello, 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 everyone. How you doing? Hi. How is everyone today? So, oh, you know what? I should turn this down a little bit. I think I've got a super... How is the volume on my mic? I probably need... Let me just turn me down just a touch. Because I get excited, and if I start, like, yelling and getting excited in things, then yes. It would be Quilt Tony, exactly where you are right now, Jory Snyder. But when I search Quilt Tony, it finds nothing. That's weird. Did you search it? Are you logged in? Make sure you log in on the Twitch app on your Roku. Nick. Thank you so much for gifting those subs, Nick. I super appreciate it. Oh, and Jean Grant, thank you so much for your resub. I super appreciate you. Thank you very much. Yeah, you just have to make sure that you are logged in, Jory. Log in on the Twitch app on your Roku. If it can't find me, because you should be following me, right? And so that it should be pull it up right away. So thank you very much for those gift subs, Nick. I appreciate you. It was great seeing you this weekend. So awesome. Yes, it was great seeing you as well. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Ruby, thank you so much for that resub for tier 3 for 14 months. You're freaking awesome. I love you. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you again. So for those of you that are regulars of mine, if you were not here last week, we are going to be doing all of these giveaways tomorrow. So you see this lovely little thing right here. Giveaways are going to be tomorrow night. Thank you. Thank you again. All the giveaways from this stream are going to be tomorrow night because this is the tutorial stream. We're going to be doing block 2 of our quilt along. And if you can't keep up for any reason at all, don't fret. This is going to be on YouTube tomorrow. So you will be able to watch it and pause it at your leisure. I know a few people just took notes last week, and then they created their blocks throughout the week. We do have a Facebook group. If you have not joined the Facebook group, if you would like to join, oh, that's what we should do. Nikki, can you put the link to the Facebook group also in both the timer and in the exclamation quilt along command? I didn't even think about that. So Jan Bear, it was Geeky Quilter's idea. Geeky Quilter had an idea of getting a Facebook group together where we can talk about the, oh, that looks awesome. Thanks, Geeky Quilter. So that is where we can talk about the blocks each week, ask questions, show off. Jan Bear also put in reminders of events. So if you sign up for event if you want a reminder of the live stream every single week, because there is 1 week where it's on Tuesday, not Monday, and there's 1 week, the week of Labor Day, where there's no stream at all. You have an extra week to catch up, basically. Hey, Rosalind, how are you? Hi, Jan Bear. So all the giveaways we're going to be doing for last Monday and today for all these subs, watchers, followers, bits, things like that are all going to be tomorrow night. I am going to be doing a small unboxing. I've got a bunch of things at the house I need to open. And we're going to be playing some marbles. And we're going to be doing some giveaways. So we're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow night. I think I figured out how to do marbles on my laptop. So we'll have a good time. 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night, we'll be doing that. So in the meantime, we are doing block number 2. They're not in the chat. That would be, so Nick, that would be, remember, Crafted Gurumi. I'm sure you took her card. If not, you can Google Crafted Gurumi. So from here on, we are going to be talking about just block number 2. I'm not going to be talking about the convention or any of that stuff until tomorrow night. So we're going to be working on the quilt along because I'm sure the YouTube people don't want me to talk about all the other stuff, right? And don't forget, guys, we have classes around the world that have set up their classes that are taking it right now. So if you have not yet downloaded the blog, exclamation quilt along, to have access to the blog, Boot Black, thank you so much. Thank you for those bits. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So it was, so we are going to be doing the block. Yeah, if you haven't downloaded it, exclamation quilt along. So any last minute questions before we go ahead and get started? I do have my mic. Or I have my lapel mic. So you should be able to hear me a little bit better today than you did on the video last week. If at any point my mic goes out, if it gets too loud, if I start screaming, if you don't like it, please make me aware so I can adjust it. I think I've adjusted it the way I need to. And yeah, so I think I've got that together. Oh, I thanked Dryad T. I thanked Nick. Oh, and Jean Grant, it was 6 months. 6 months you resub. Thank you so much. I super appreciate that. Yay, Rosalind! Yay, Jory! I'm glad you figured it out. That's awesome. Okay. So no other last minute questions. We can get started. All right. So you notice how I've got my chat on my phone right here. I also have my lovely little app that I can switch between scenes. So I've switched this one a little bit today. Remember how I had it, I played with the cameras and the settings a little bit. So this is actually my point of view. I had it upside down because I didn't flip the camera last week, but this is my point of view. So you actually have what I see with what I'm doing. So I've got that on my phone in addition to chat. I can go back and forth. And Jory, thank you for that follow. I super appreciate that. That may be why you couldn't have found me if you didn't follow me. But thank you so much for that follow. I appreciate that. Awesome. All right, so I've got that set up. So why do I have my iPad here? Guess what I forgot to do before class today? I got everything else set up. In fact, let me grab my quilts so then you can see what we're working on today. I don't know why I was yelling as I was going across, because I've got my lapel mic on today. I remembered the quilts. So the Bubble Bobble, the one inspired by Bubble Bobble, who is our bubble sore, was last week. This middle one right here is our hunting dog, inspired by Duck Hunt. That's going to be today. And then next week, we have our Dark Mage, which is inspired by Black Mage. So I remembered this, but and let me put right here. I forgot to print out my pattern. Luckily, all of my patterns are PDFs for the quilt along, so I brought it up and it's just sitting on my iPad, so I can have my iPad while I work it on. So yes, you guys are absolutely right. I forgot to print out the pattern. All right, now remember last week we had a small issue with chat freezing and disappearing for me. It has to do with the internet connection. For some reason when it drops, I don't get to see it. My phone was more reliable than the iPad, so I'm just going to keep it up on my phone. And I've got it here. Hi, Ministry. How are you? So if for some reason chat goes dead, the mods will take care of it. They're going to shoot me a message. And if chat's dead for me for a while, if I'm like, people aren't responding, I will double check my messages from my mods. And if they have sent me a message, I know that, okay, I need to close down the app and reopen it so I can see chat again. And I'll let you guys know what the last thing I read was in case there's anything that I need to answer or do. So fantastic. All right, with that being said, let's get started. Now, because I do have the chat on my phone, I may not be able to catch certain things. So, of course, we have our amazing 2 mods for our quilt along. We have Geeky Quilter as well as Nikiana Knits, who are here to answer your questions. For those of you that haven't met Geeky Quilter and Nikiana yet, Geeky Quilter is a professional quilter. He does all sorts of amazing, cool, really cool stuff. He lives in Australia. And just an amazing, awesome, fantastic person. He's also part of my pattern testing group. So he's already made all of these blocks. He's done it all because he helped me pattern test them. Nikiana is an amazing person that I met at Gen Con. She's actually taken classes from me. So she's in your shoes right now. She understands what it is to take classes from me. So they can both answer any questions that you may have. All right, so, oh, hey, that's me. Yes, it is. So... You guys are awesome. All right, you ready? I've got them in front of me. All right, step number 1 is a little different than our step last week because last week we went right from the beginning and started cutting. This step is a little bit different. So if this block is being made as part of the Retro Gaming Revival Quilt, use the following strips from previous blocks. Please keep a note of this. If you are doing the quilt along with us and you're not making this as a standalone block, this is the important part. So I have my bubble sore from last week and all of my leftover pieces. So we need to take 1 black strip, okay? So we're going to take our black strip. Now I am going to take the little pieces I also cut in my black strip because remember, I'm a cheater. I cut things 2 at a time, so I already have a 6.5 inch strip cut. Well, the 4.5, I'm sorry, the 4.5 by 2.5 cut. So I'm going to take that black strip, and I also need the white strip. So whenever I say the solid color strip, I also mean any solid color pieces that you may have pre-cut as well. So we're going to take those aside, and now I can take my bubble sore and set the rest of it aside. So I'm going to set the rest of him right over here out of the way. Fantastic. All right, so let me start organizing this. And next, we are going to cut some strips. So we have white first. Now, I have them in 2 different things. So we need 1 2.5 inch strip, but we've already taken it from our bubble sore. We already have this. Because we use this from a previous strip, from a previous block, we do not need to cut that. And then we need 2 1.5 inch strips. Now, again, I cheated a little bit. When I was making the previous quilt in order to do all my pattern testing, I accidentally cut 2 extra 1.5 inch strips. So I'm just going to use those. So let me set that aside. I'm going to put that right there. All right, so black. Oh, of course, Ministry. You know how I am. You don't have to be a sewer or quilter in order to enjoy the stream. You can definitely hang out. All right, now we're done with white, so I'm going to set white aside. And now we need our black. So for black, we need 1 2.5 inch strip. Oh, I've already pulled it from last week from the bubble sore. We don't have to do that. And now I need 2 1.5. I said 1.5, didn't I? If you're new to my stream, I missay things all the time. We needed 1 2.5 that I already pulled. And Now we need 2 1.5. So let me cut these. Now, I actually use what's called a stripology ruler. It is a ruler by Creative Grids. It's an amazing, awesome, fantastic ruler. So there's the close-up. So it's by Creative Grids. There are 2 different stripologies that I like to use. This is the stripology squared, which is a really, really cool ruler. So what I'm going to do is line that up. And you know what I just realized? I don't have my rotary cutter. Where? There it is. So I use, for my standard rotary cutter, a really cool looking one. It looks like this. It's by Martelli. I believe if you do exclamation cutter, you can actually get a discount for this. It's a pretty cool cutter. So I am going to do this. Now, what I'm doing is I'm lining it up along the edge, but most importantly here along the fold. Thank you so much, Geeky Quilter. I super appreciate that. So let's go 1.5. So there's my 1.5 inch. Now this has already been squared up. The nice thing about this is you can run it here and square this up along the 0. All right, if I go to the 3, there's nothing there. So I'm going to have to go into my other thing. So that is trash. Let's put my trash pile right there. So I have 1 2.5 inch strip. So let's get another one. Now, this is, oh, thank you very much. Oh, speaking of amazing self-healing boards, this is a board by Martelli. I have not yet talked to them about doing a, doing a partnership with them in order to get you guys a discount yet. That's on my list to email. I will do it. But this cutting mat was put through the test. Remember how I said it's so thick, I didn't think it would warp? This mat, I actually did a lecture at Steve Sew and Back up in King of Prussia, Maryland last Wednesday. So I had this for my lecture. I then kept it in my truck until I took it out this morning for this class. It was hot. And now it was laying flat, but you know that doesn't make a difference. When it gets super hot, sometimes it'll curl. Yugi, and thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. So I left it in the truck the entire weekend. Let me show you. Perfectly straight. It is not warped at all. And you see here, it doesn't, it's laying perfectly flat. It's perfectly fine. So I thought it might not have been, it might not have warped, but it didn't, and it is fantastic. All right, so I will try to talk to them and get some discount codes for the mat, although you do have a discount code right now for the cutter. All right, let's do this. So this is fresh off the bolt fabric.
Thank you for subscribing to Quiltoni.
Mandy Pandy! Mandy Pandy. Thank you so much for that resub. I super appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Yes, it kept its shape. It is amazing. Yes, the company is absolutely amazing. Now, the reason why I felt that I could try this is because I did not pay for this cutting mat. They did give me this cutting mat for free. Oops, I have a wrinkle right there, so let's get that ironed out. So I did get this cutting mat for free, and you guys know I will always, always, always tell you, #ad, if I am being paid, if I have a sponsorship, or if I got something for free. I am not being paid to tell you about this mat. I am not getting any money whatsoever. They are not sponsoring me at all, but they did give me this mat for free to try out to see if I liked it, and I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. Mandy Pandy, I do not know yet if I will be at TwitchCon. I am waiting on the status of my application for Artist Alley, The moment that they let me know if I am in the Artist Alley or not, I will let you guys know if I will be at TwitchCon. So, because unfortunately with my business, I cannot go to TwitchCon unless I am able to make some money as well as promote. So as soon as I know, I will let you know. All right, so now that I've got that, this is what I do, how I fold my fabric. So I folded it in half, and now I'm going to fold that over there, and let's finish folding this in half, because by folding it in half another time, it allows us to easily cut from this fabric. So now I'm going to turn this over and do this. There we go. All right, so let's line this up. I'm lining it up along this 12 right here, along that top line. I'm making sure it overlaps this area down here. Now I'm going to trim it. So trim at the 0 and then the 1.5. There we go. And there's my other 1.5. So I now have all of my white and all of my black cut. So let me finish doing that, and I'm finished with this fabric, and I can set that aside. Next is bright blue. So bright blue, let's see, that is, oops, here is the fabric. I have two bright blues. I have the bright blue that I got before, and then of course the bright blue that Northcott sent me. For anyone that did not join us last week, I am using fabrics from Northcott. It is called the Toscana, Toscana line. It is a gorgeous, amazing line of fabric. The colors they just pop. They're beautiful. I love them, and I absolutely just love this fabric line. All right, so we have blue, 2 2.5s. 5, and you see why I like this mat so much? And then 2 1.5s. So at 6.5 and 8. And that quickly I have cut all of my strips that I need. And that's it. So 2 and 2, right? Yes. And this is trash. This can now be set aside, and we have our last color. Our last color is a medium brown. Now, for those of you that are sewing along with me, I may go a little bit faster than what you are doing. It is perfectly okay if I am going a little bit faster. The reason is, I've been doing this for 12 years. I also have tools like the Stripology ruler that allow me to go a little bit faster. You can pause the video, you can rewind, you can fast forward. But remember, if you are not watching it live, then we are not going to have the actual interaction. So you're not going to be able to ask me direct questions and have me answer as we're doing it. So keep that in mind. Now, this video will be on my YouTube channel tomorrow, !socials, if you have not yet followed the YouTube, if you would like to. And then you can always rewatch it and do it then. So, all right, so let's do the medium brown. Can that really be used for a lefty? Yes, it absolutely can, Puzzle Games. And the reason is all you're doing is laying this out. So I'm laying it out like this. And you can hold it with your right hand and rotary cut with your left. I normally hold it here and rotary cut with the right. Now, the nice thing about the Stripology rulers, and again, I paid for these rulers. They weren't even given to me for free. I purchased these. So the nice thing I like about them is, you hear that? That is my nail rubbing against this stuff on the back. What this stuff is it has the ability to not move. It grips the fabric and holds on, and it doesn't shift. You know how many times you'll have a ruler and you'll lay the ruler down and you'll go to rotary cut and the ruler does this or it moves? The nice thing about the Stripologies, they don't move. They have that grip on there. So it's really in there. Minion Mama, good morning. So yes, this can be used by both righties and lefties. Grippy stuffs. Yes, technical terms. We have technical terms here. The technical term is grippy stuff. All right, so let's cut that 0. So brown, medium brown, I need a 2.5-inch strip. And then I need 2 1.5s. So 4, 5.5. Uh-oh. I may not have enough. We will check. I know I have enough for my 2. And there's 1. All right, so it may have enough. Thank you so much for that download of that pattern. I appreciate it. Here is, I'm going to look at this. Uh-oh. Maybe? No. 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 See how this dips in? Nope, this is scrap. I can't use it. All right, so I need another 1.5. So I have 1. Let me do another one. So here is, this is my new fabric that they sent me. And let's do this. We're going to trim the edge. Now, I always get the question, should you pre-wash your fabrics? The answer, oh, my phone's not cooperating. I'm trying to go back and switch scenes. So, should you pre-wash your fabrics? The answer is maybe. If you want to. If you feel like it. So basically, there is a couple of different trains of thought. There is yes and there is no. Why would you or would you not want to pre-wash your fabrics? Yeah, pause for dramatic effect. I do not pre-wash my fabrics at all. As you see, I said, oh, here's the fabric, and this is how I'm going to fold it. It was sent to me by the company. I don't pre-wash them. Back in the day, you did have to pre-wash all your fabrics because you never knew what was going to run with the dye and what didn't. We are in a new age. We are in a brand new age where you do not need to do that. Because especially, I can tell you right now, if you get the Northcott Toscana line, you do not need to pre-wash this. This color is not running. It is not coming out. It is in there. It is amazing. It is beautiful color. It's not running. If you use batiks, or if you use hand-dyed fabrics, if you purchase hand-dyed fabrics from someplace, like Cherrywood, pre-wash those fabrics. It is extremely important you do that. Those fabrics may run because of the dyeing process of what they have gone through. Now, that being said, let's say if I do a TARDIS quilt where I have batiks for some but not others, I need to pre-wash all the fabric. If you pre-wash some of the fabric, you need to pre-wash all the fabric in your project. So, easiest way to do it that I do, I don't pre-wash anything. And then if I decide to pull fabric for a project where some of it is a batik or some of it is a cherrywood or a hand-dyed fabric, look up cherrywood if you haven't. Oh my God, those fabrics are gorgeous. If you have not yet, then what I do is I cut the fabric that I need. I don't cut the strips, but I cut the yardage I need for that project and then throw it in the wash. And that's the easiest way to do it. So anyone that tells you you have to pre-wash everything, no. Yeah, I would like to say something else, but I'm not going to because we're a family-friendly PG stream. All right, so questions. Buying too much fabric? Yes, yes, yes. And knits. Knits, so I'm talking quilting fabric. I'm talking 100% cotton quilting fabric. I'm not talking knits, jersey, or any material you may use for other things. This only pertains to cotton quilting fabrics. Okay, so we've got all of our 2.5s and all of our 1s. We're done with that first part. All right, so let's go to the next. From the 1.5-inch strips, okay? So from these are 1.5-inch strips. We're going to cut in half. I left my scissors at home. I guess I'm going to be using my little tiny little scissors. All right, we're cutting in half. 1 white strip. Oh, this one's already cut in half. Fantastic. Okay. Is this one cut in half? Please tell me no. Yes, this one's cut in half. Uh-oh. You know what? I'm going to show you what to do. If you're cutting from fat quarters, you want to cut double the strips of what it tells you. So we're going to pretend this is a fat quarter with the white, and I'll show you what to do. And it's okay. It's perfectly okay. It's almost like it's a fat quarter, and I just have 2 strips that I've cut. So I will show you what to do with that. Let's see, one bright blue. Let's cut one bright blue in half. I mean, because honestly, at this stage really does not make a difference what scissors I use. And one medium brown. So a medium brown and a black. There we go. And then these are our full strips. Okay, now from the 2.5 inch, I'm on the bottom of the first page. From the 2.5 inch strips, we are now going to cut our chunks. So whenever I give lectures at stores, guilds, or conventions, and I talk about my quilting, I talk about how the Quiltoni method of sewing, which is what you're doing right now, how the Quiltoni method is really a combination of chunking and stripping. It is a combination of the two. There is no, it's just a way that I've learned how to efficiently quilt and efficiently do this. So you can put together pixelated images at a much quicker pace. So what we're doing right now is we're actually cutting our chunks. We've cut our strips for our first part, so now we're going to start chunking. All right, let's do, oh yes, thank you very much for reminding me, Geeky Quilter. I almost forgot. I almost forgot, and I should not have forgotten. Guys, I'm at Tomorrow's Treasures. So right now, I am streaming live from Crofton, Maryland. I am at the quilt store that got me sewing, that got me quilting. This is the store that is the reason why I do what I do. So they were very open, they were very caring, they held my hand, they showed me a bunch of things, they taught. And this is why when I say if you're interested in quilting or sewing and you're looking at a machine, find a local store. There is nothing like an amazing person that will hold your hand. So if you're ever in the Maryland area, please, please, please swing by Tomorrow's Treasures. They're awesome, they're amazing, and they've allowed me to use their space. So when I'm traveling and I'm in Maryland, I can stream from here. I can stream from the space. If you're in the Maryland area, you can sign up for classes when I'm in town, and you can sit in front of me and do this live with me for free. These classes are free. All you have to do is purchase your fabric from them, and that's it. All right, so let's go back to cutting this. So we have our white. So from our 2.5, I need 3 4.5 inch rectangles and 2 1.5 inch rectangles. So let me line this up. I'm going to trim that. I need 3 4.5s. So I'm actually going to cut to the 9, because you know me, I like to chunk it. And then 2 1.5s. So at this point, I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to take one of these and set it aside so that I have 3. Now with this white, for the Toscana line for the white, I have found it's a lot easier to go ahead and lay it out so you know which side is right side, which side is wrong side. Because remember, with fabric, so here's our black fabric, okay? This is the right side of the fabric. That's the wrong side of the fabric. So you see the difference? The right side is the side with the saturation of color. The wrong side is not. It's the wrong side. So whenever we talk about the right side or wrong side of things, that's what I mean. In this case, there is a right side and wrong side for the white, for the Toscana line. It's just hard to see it, especially with as fast as I move. It's hard to as I'm going. So I want to make sure that I have the right side and the wrong side. I have the right side already set up. Now, all the other colors, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to leave it like it is after I cut it. All right, next, let's go from the black fabric. from the black fabric, I need a 4.5-inch rectangle. Hey, look, I cut one for the Bulbasaur, so I already have it. And I need 4 2.5-inch. So we need 4 2.5-inch squares. Okay. 2.5, 5. I've got that up. All right, so I can set that aside. Why do I keep doing that? I keep setting this over here. Stay. Stay there. Okay. This is the extra. There's our 4, and then I need 2 1.5 rectangles. Look, because I miscut the last time, so I had 2 extras. All right, we have those. Next, we have our bright blue. Now, our bright blue, we have 2 strips, okay? And we need 2 4.5s, 8 2.5s, and 16 1.5s. So I'm going to cheat even farther. So I like to have efficiency with my cutting and my quilting. So I always cut pieces by 2s because it's just faster and better. In this case, I'm going to skip that first step of those 4.5s. I'm going to cut by 4s. So if you ever want to cut multiple pieces, you can layer your strips in order to cut even more and even faster. So let's layer these strips just like that. And let's do this. Great. All right, so we're going to cut off our end. And I said I'm skipping that first one. We're going to go to the 8, so 2.5s. So remember, I'm cutting in sections of 4. So here's 4, 8. Okay, so I'm done with that. Now we're doing the 1.5s, and I'm cutting them in sections of 4. Okay, so there is 4, 8, 12, 16. Okay, so I have 16. Whoops, hello. That's trash. All right, so I've got these are all good. Now, I only need 2 4.5s. So I'm going to take one of these and set it aside. Okay, so then now I'm going to cut a 4.5. Any questions on layering with the strips? Any questions on cutting the solids or anything else, or is everyone good so far? All right, I set that aside. Now, last but not least, medium brown. So is everyone understanding things so far? I try to make my directions as easy to read as possible. For those of you that are new to my streams and new to my method of sewing, initially I created quilts and I sold them to the public at conventions. And eventually, cosplayers would come up and they'd look at my quilts and they say, "That's really great. I love that. I want it, but I want to make it. I don't want to buy the finished quilt. I want to buy a pattern. Where are your patterns?" Well, then I had to think about, well, how can I get cosplayers to sew? How can I explain to them quilting terms? Because they've never quilted before. They've only, most cosplayers are self-taught. So I had to figure all this out. So that is where all the pattern came from, the pattern line, and I tried to make it as simple and as easy to read as possible. So hopefully you think it is. All right, let's cut the brown. And we can do that. Okay, so let's trim here. Now for the browns, we need 2 4.5s. Okay, I've got that. 4 2.5s, so 1 2.5 and 2.5, and then 5 1.5s. Okay, so there's 2, 4. I'm just going to sneak this over. 6. Because remember, I like to cheat. I like to cut things by 2s. So I'm going to take 1 away because I only need 5, and this is my extra. There we go. So all of our solids are cut out. So we have every single bit of our solid colors. All right, so let's set this aside. Now I've got all my solid colors sitting right here, just out of the way for now, just to make sure that I've got them. And now we need to combine our others. I'm just making sure that, because chat's a bit quiet, so I was just making sure that chat is still good, and it is. You guys are just quiet. Okay. We're done with the first page. Yeah, quiet chat is quiet, exactly. And that's fine, perfectly fine. I just want to make sure that it didn't time out on me, because remember it happened that a couple of times last week. We're already done with page 1, guys. That's it. All right, page 2. Let's go on to page 2. We've got using the 1.5-inch strips. So now we're going on to these things. We're going on to the 1.5-inch strips. We want to sew the right sides. Remember what I said, the right side is the side with all of the color saturation. Okay? So right sides together for each of the following combinations. A half white strip. Okay? So let's grab the white strips. There we go. Half white strip to half bright blue strip. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and line it up with the right sides together so that way I don't get confused. Because I don't know if you know this about me, I get confused easily. So I want to set future Tony up for success. So I'm going to just put those right sides together right now. All right, and then we have a 1 white strip to 1 black strip. Okay, remember, this is where we already have one cut in half. So if you have a fat quarter that you are cutting pieces from in order to make this quilt block, what you want to do at this point is you have 2 short white strips, and then you should have 2 short black strips. Basically treat them as combining 2 half strips. So if you have a whole strip, you want to combine 2 half strips. So here's my black with up. Here is my white down, my black up, and then my white down. There we go. All right, and then next, a half white inch strip to a half medium brown strip. Okay, so my medium brown is here. So I'm going to have my medium brown first because I don't want to have white on white. So my medium brown. And then flip that over so the white is down. Then half bright blue to half black. Okay, so we have a half bright blue left. And here's our black. We've got that. 1 bright blue to 1 medium. Okay, so all I'm going to do in this case is just set that medium right there. And it looks like my bright blue needs a little bit of ironing. So let me get that ironed just to make sure it lays flat, because you do want to iron everything. You may not want to wash it, but you do want to iron it just to make sure it's good. You know what? I'm going to open this up. There we are. All right, and then 1 black to 1 medium brown. Look at this. We have 0 extra half strips. Remember in the first block we had, I think, 1 or 2 extra half strips left over? If you have done this correctly, if there are no half strips left, if you have used everything, chunky quarter, oh, instead of a fat quarter, yes, yes. All right, so now let's sew these. So I can move my directions aside. And let's start sewing. All right. Is anyone at the same place that I am? Has anyone able to keep pace and sew at the rate that I am sewing? If so, I am very proud. You're amazing. If not, you are fine. It is perfectly natural and good. I just move at a strange, fast pace. And nobody signed up to be in the class here physically with me. So I can't have them force me to slow down. But that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, this is going to be on YouTube tomorrow. So if you need to go back and rewatch some of the videos, redo some of the things, that is perfectly fine. Now, I just happened to notice that we have hit over 30 viewers. So for those of you that are used to my giveaways on my stream, that means that tomorrow we're going to have an extra giveaway. So tomorrow should be a lot of fun. I have some things to show you. And I have some cool things to talk about tomorrow, but we're not going to talk about them until tomorrow because today is all about the Retro Gaming Quilt-Along. Now, you notice how I did not cut off my first one. I just left it there. It's a lot easier this way, trust me. It's just to start sewing, just to keep on going. And I am doing what is called chain sewing. Oh my gosh, my brain is tired. Tired Tony is tired. So I am doing what's called chain sewing. So basically what chain sewing is, I have something in my machine at all times. It does three things. First is it speeds everything up, so I'm able to move at a faster pace. Yeah, I agree, chain piecing is fantastic. The second thing it does is it saves on thread, because you don't have to use as much thread because you're constantly not having to pull it out and constantly have that leader. The third thing it does, if you have an older machine that may suck your thread back in, you're preventing that. In addition, you are locking in the ends. If you ever try to start sewing 2 strips of fabric, and you start sewing it from one end versus another, you may notice that the edges kind of open up a little bit. That doesn't happen with chain sewing. It is locked in. Now, it's not a super firm edge. So if you pull at it, it will open. So don't leave edges like that open. You have to make sure that you close it somehow. And these are quilts. Because they're quilts and we're piecing them a certain way, it's going to be naturally closed in. You don't have to worry about it. Now, for those of you that are joining the Quilt-Along for the first time today, if you did not join us last week, we do take a small break at 3 o'clock. We take a 15-minute break, and that's to allow people to go to the bathroom, grab snacks. So at 3 o'clock, I'll do a question and answer session where we can talk about anything you want to talk about. Last week, we talked about some of the weird things that I've gotten, some of the weird emails and things that I've gotten from people that just don't understand how human interaction should work. Or people that are trying to get free things. That's not how life works. So we had that talk last week. You're caught up. That's fantastic, Jory. That is fantastic. So you're sewing your strips? That is awesome. Now remember what I said. If you're not caught up, it's perfectly okay if you don't get caught up. Because this video, if you want to rewatch the video at any point, if you're like, wait, what was that technique that Tony said? What do I have to go and do? You can go back and watch the YouTube. It will be up there forever. It will be up there for absolutely forever. All right. I have one more after this, and then we'll iron and cut them. beautiful. Last but not least, any questions, concerns, anything at all before we go on to the next step? Now, next Monday, if you haven't joined me on Twitch yet, next Monday you're going to see something a little different. You're going to see my studio. Because I'm driving home this weekend. I was down here in Maryland because I went to Pennsylvania to speak at Steve Soenbach. And then I went to Too Many Games, which is what Nick was talking about earlier, which is a convention, which is fantastic. All right. Now, next step. It says, I cut each of these newly combined strips in half. All right, so I'm going to separate this and fold it over like this. So here's my strip. I'm going to take it, fold it like this, and cut it in half. Yes, you get to see the doggies and the kitties. And I'm cutting it in half, just like that. So now I have 2. Now, keep it just like it is folded in on itself. So you've got that. All right, white and black. Now, remember, I've got 2 whites and blacks. I'm going to make this easy on myself. I'm going to fold this in half again. That way on my mini, now you don't have to do this. If you have the entire long strip, you don't have to cut it in half. You can keep it like it is and just cut it in half one time. You don't have to cut it into 4s. But I have that, as I learned last week, I have that small little ironing board. And it's a lot easier for me if I just do it this way. So, as you'll see when I get to the bright blue and the black, I'll cut that in 4ths to make it easy on myself because I've got a small ironing board. All right. Yes, I know. Oh, no, bright blue and black is a half one. I know, you guys really watch. Oh my gosh, Marley is the cutest. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a second. I got home about 11 o'clock last night. Well, I got to my parents' house about 11 o'clock last night. Marley was so happy to see me, he would not leave me alone. He cuddled with me all night long. Marley does not like to cuddle when sleeping. He cuddled with me all night long. Like, he was super happy to see me. He was very, very happy. And my poor baby is not the brightest. My mother in the morning gives her dogs blueberries whenever she eats blueberries. So she gave a blueberry to Marley, and Marley took it and went and spit it out. And then picked it up again and went and spit it out. He couldn't understand the texture that was in his mouth. It took him about 5 minutes to finally eat it. It was really funny. All right, so we're going to cut this in 4ths to make it easy on myself. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting it in half. So this is the brown and blue strips. So I'm cutting in half. So now I have 2 half strips. To make life easy on myself, I'm going to cut this in half again, which is perfectly okay. It is perfectly okay to cut your strips in quarters. Do not cut them any smaller than that. There we go. And then here is my last one, my brown and my black. Now, let me show you my little trick that I do for cutting it in half. So this is my piece I'm cutting it in half, right? Oops, let me go that way. So this is my piece. So whenever I fold it in on itself, this is a clean edge. There's no salvage or anything on this end. This is the cut end. This is the salvage end. So you see how my salvage is on both sides. What I do is I fold this in a way so that the edge, the clean edge, goes to the end of my salvage. So I'm actually folding it there so it has a little bit of room. So my salvage is there. So that way I'm going to get the most out of this strip. It is just a lot easier to work with that way. The flipped camera, yes, I know, right? My flipped camera is confusing because it's a little bit different than what I did last week. Okay, so I've got all of my cut in half strips. Let's move this over here so it's not in your way. Tony imitate. Oh, really? Really? You like that? Well, it wasn't a close-up shot, though, about me imitating Marley. Yes. Okay, so we've got our black and our brown. So first off, take the bright blue and medium brown. Okay, we've got our bright blue and our medium brown. We're going to do that one first. We're going to iron them in opposite directions. All right? So in this case, we're ironing this first strip towards the brown. Now remember, I just cut this in quarters. So if you have these in halves, it's perfectly fine. Okay, so that's towards the brown. And now I want to iron it towards the blue. There we go. Now, we're going to do what's called nesting the seams, all right? So how you nest the seams is I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to flip it up over here, and I'm going to use my fingers in order to make sure that these seams right here are nested. So you see how those seams are now in opposite directions? So these two seams right here, they're going to nest up perfectly. So you can see, ooh, there we go. There we go. You see how that's lined up perfectly? And what that's going to do is it's going to give you a perfect point every single time. Okay, so we've got that. Now let's do some cutting. So I need, oops, it would help if I had this on correctly. Flipped camera is confusing. So I'm lining up one of my lines along my seam. Jan Bear!
The sweatshop. I mean, factory.
Yay, 19 months already? Thank you for all the magic and also a big thank you for having me here and letting me be part of your amazing community. Less than 3.
Thank you, Jan Bear. Thank you very much. I super appreciate your 19-month Tier 3. That's a Tier 3, isn't it? Tier 3 resub. You're freaking amazing. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. For those of you that are part of the Facebook group, you may have noticed that a Jan Silvis, which is Jan Bear, has been posting a whole bunch into the group. So thank you very much, Jan. You're amazing and a wonderful, amazing part of our community. I would not want to do this without you. Okay, so back to where I was. I'm taking my line, I'm lining it up along this seam right here. So it's a perfectly straight seam. All right, so now let's cut. I need 4 sets. Sets means I'm cutting 2 at a time. 2, dos. So I'm cutting 2 at a time. So I need 4 sets of the 2.5 inch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And this is trash. Oops, I didn't cut it deep enough there. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to take these and I'm going to open them up. And I'm making 2 different stacks. My one stack is my seams that are going towards the blue, and my other stack is seams that are going towards the brown. And that's going to be easy for laying it out in the next step. Okay? Next, I need to iron this one. So I'm going to iron this towards the brown. So this gets ironed towards the brown. And then the next one gets ironed towards the blue. So this is exactly what I just did. If you did not cut your pieces into quarters, if you only cut them into halves, you don't have to do this extra step because you've already done it. All right, we're going to nest these seams. Let's line this up. All right, and now I need 3 sets of 1.5. Okay, so let's line this up along the seam. So 1, and that's a 1.5. So I'm just double checking to see how many I need. 2, 3. Okay, so they should be, 1.5 inch each. And this is extra, so I'm going to take this and set this on my extras pile. And now I'm going to separate it. And this is just for my own sanity. I just do this until I'm ready to lay everything out. And we'll set that aside. All right, next. The white and bright blue. Yep, I'm going to flip this over. White and bright blue. There we are. Here's towards the white. And then towards the bright blue. There we go. Now, white, bright blue, I just need 1 set of 2.5 inches. Okay? 1 set of 2.5 inches. Just like that. There we go. I'm going to open it up, and I'm just going to stack it and set it aside. And that one's done, so I'm going to set that aside. Next is the white and black. Now this one, remember, was a half strip that I have into quarters. So I'm going to do an extra step, and then if you have it into the half. But again, it's super, that folded over. I have to make sure my seam is nice. There we go. Oops. I'm getting a little condensation over here. It's a good thing that this map doesn't warp very well. It doesn't warp as much as others. I'm just going to have to remember to not put that over there. All right, so I've got towards the white. This is towards the black. Let's nest these seams. And white and black. I need 3 sets of 2.5. Okay, so let's go trim the end. And there's 1, 2, 3. And then I need 4 sets of 1.5. So there's 1. Oh, nope, that's all I can get from here. That is scrap. So I'm going to need 3 more sets of 1.5. Okay, that's towards the white. Now, I am using steam, so you notice how that fabric is going to warp now and then. You see that here, how this is a bigger chunk out there? That's going to happen. Perfectly fine. You don't have to worry about it. You do not have to worry at all if your fabric stretches like that. All of the patterns account for it. You can still get a beautiful pattern even if it stretches. Now, for whenever, if you get into a lot of the quilts, the higher end type quilts that have to be super precise and super detailed, you're going to have to pay attention to that at that point. And probably try not to stretch it. But for this, it's perfectly fine. All right, so 1.5, 3, 4.5. There we go, and I've got my 3. So now I have extra. Setting aside and opening this up. There we go. And setting that aside. All right, next is white and brown. White and brown. There we go. That's towards the white. That's towards the brown. Let's nest these seams. And we're cutting 3 sets of 2.5. Okay, and then 1 set of 1.5. Now, I cannot get anything else out of this one. So this is scrap. We use the entire thing for this. There we go. And setting that aside. Next is blue and black. Bright blue and black. Now you may notice when I'm ironing it, I'm just doing it automatically. Of course I didn't talk about it, and I really should. The best way that I have found to iron open the seams is I take the iron and I iron just the blue first, okay? And then I start to press up against the black, and then I go through another one and make sure it's down there all the way. And a lot of times that makes sure, you see how the seam right here is perfect on there? So it's a great way, great fast way to iron those seams to make sure that they're nice. Okay, so blue and black, I need 1 set of 2.5. So let's trim it, 2.5, and then 2 sets of 1. So 1, 4, 5.5. Here's the extra we're setting aside. That's scrap, and then opening it up. No questions, concerns, anything on this until now? So everyone's got it, right? Everyone understands how to cut these combined pieces? So this is now the last one. This is the black and brown. So technically black, medium brown. But there's only 1 brown in this one. So that one was towards the black. Wait, hold on. Nope, I did towards the brown. Okay, that's towards the brown, so now I need to iron towards the black. I almost ironed it the wrong way. So what happens if you iron it the wrong way? Nothing. You re-iron it. It's not a problem if you, oops, I've got a little bit right there. I need to re-iron. If you iron it the wrong way, you can just re-iron it. It's not going to damage the fabric to just re-iron it. And I'm making sure that my chat hasn't died. Nobody answered me on that one, right? The last thing that I see is Jan Bear's smiley faces. All right, let's do that. We're lining this up. Here is black and brown. I need 5 sets of 1.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, yep. I need to refresh chat. Thank you, Geeky Quilter. Let's redo that. And let's go back into chat. Fantastic. Okay, refreshed. Woohoo! I've got it in there. All right, so this is scrap. So did I miss anything for when I had no chat? Thank you very much, Geeky Quilter. So this is my extra, so I'm setting that aside. And let's separate these out. Yay for chat working again. All right, and those are there. All right, I'm done with my rotary cutter and my straight edge or stripology ruler, whichever one you are using. All right, let's lay things out. So I'm going to start laying things out now. I've got everything I've got everything cut out. So these are all of my pieces I have cut out. So this is what I do in order to make it successful, in order to lay stuff out so it's easy for me to line these up. Oh, and I almost forgot my extra stuff. These are all my extra fabrics, all the extra things for the future. I'm going to put that all the way over there out of the way, completely out of the way, so I don't have to worry about it. Okay? Now I want to lay all this out in a way. Yes, yeah, and that's the thing. If you set your seams, Puzzle Games has had a good point. Setting your seams, all that is if you have your strip, you basically iron it on the top first, and then do the other steps that I did. So setting the seam is basically saying, hey, look, you see this thing right here? I want you to stay this way, and then finish ironing it. So yeah, so that's setting the seams is a really good thing. Okay. All of this stuff right here, I want to lay it out in a way to where it's going to help me to grab it in a way to then start putting this together. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay out my solid pieces. So I'm laying them out so that it's easy for me to grab it. There we go. And then I'm going to start laying out my cut pieces. So I'm laying them so every single set. So in this case, I've got towards the brown, the larger pieces, towards the brown, smaller pieces, towards the blue, larger pieces, towards the blue, smaller pieces. So I have them all laid out so it's easy to see every piece and take it as I need it. Now, I'm not worried about how close I am getting to the sewing machine because with the sewing machine, I'm not using this until I finish laying all these out. So I'm going to lay all my pieces out first. There we are. We've got that, and then this, and there's all my pieces. So everything is all laid out. It's all taken care of, so it's easy for me to pick up and lay down. So whenever you see the camera angle of the mat and the iron, you don't see over here to the right is all of the pieces all laid out. So all I'm doing is I'm reaching over here and I'm grabbing those pieces. You know what I'm going to do? Let's change in this camera angle. Let's move this up over here because you know what? We don't care about this scrap pile over there, and it's going to be a lot easier to look at the things as I'm laying it out. So you see right here, over in the very bottom right hand, this right here, that is the bottom of my pieces I'm laying out. So you see them right here. All I'm doing is going to be reaching over here, grabbing the corresponding pieces, and then putting them in place. So let's take this and here. So now we are on the bottom. We're in the very bottom of page number 2. Page 2. So if you're following along at home and doing it along with us, very, very bottom of page 2. Yes, hide the trash. Hide the trash. All right. In here, all it says is lay all the pieces out. Start with the first row and lay each piece right side up, making sure you pay attention to the direction the seam is facing. So those arrows on the right-hand side, you see how row number 1, the arrow is going this way? It's pointing to the right. That means your seams need to go towards the right. Okay? So towards the right. Row number 2, towards the left. They need to go this way. And whenever I say the way that your seams point, in this case, the seam is pointing towards the black. You see how the seam is going this way? So in this case, if I lay it this way, it's pointing to the right. If I do it that way, it's pointing to the left. So that's all you need to make sure that you're doing as you're laying everything down. No, and you know what? If it's fascinating to you, that is perfectly fine. We are doing block number 2 in our quilt along, exclamation quilt along for more information. So yes, yeah, this is how I do all my quilting. We are doing block number 2, which is the hunting dog, inspired by Duck Hunt. All right, I'm weird. I like to do my rows opposite. So I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up, okay? So let me put this down a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to work on my bottom row first. So I'm doing row number 9. So I'm working backwards. I'm weird. That's just the way I like to do it. All right, so row number 9. I have this piece right here. Let's move my iron over. I've got that piece right there. And then a brown and blue with the brown up. Now, my seam is going towards the blue. Remember how I said we have to nest those seams? We have to make sure those seams are alternating in order to all line up. In this case, my seam's going towards the blue. So my next one, I need to go up towards the brown. Okay? And then down towards the blue. Now, this one's a little confusing because I've got a bunch. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total of these. 1, 2, 3. That's towards the blue, yes. 4, 5. Okay? The next one, it's a combo. So it's one of my horizontal ones. I'm going to take my solid piece down there, and my top piece is a brown and black combined. The arrow's going to the right. So I'm going to make sure that it's pointing towards the black. So I have a brown and black piece. The seam is pointing towards the black. My arrow's to the right, so my seam points to the right. Now, you notice how I automatically just started grouping these up. So I like to put my pieces down in groups of 2. Good morning, Jose. So I'm grouping them in groups of 2. Oh, and I just saw Nikki pointed that out. So whenever I'm grouping them up, I'm saving myself a step for whenever I combine them and pin them in order for sewing. So whenever I'm lining them up, I'm doing in those groups of 2 to make sure I've got it. I know, right? I started to explain. I looked down. I saw, oh, Nikki's already explained it in chat. Fantastic. See, but of course the YouTube doesn't see chat, so I have to make sure that I do that. All right, so we've got this right here. So now this is going down. So this seam is going to go up. So I have to make sure the next one goes down. So towards the blue and towards the brown. Now, I do not want to combine these 2 together because this one's going to get combined to this after it's sewn because it's a horizontal one. So that's in our next step on the 3rd page. So I'm just going to leave it like it is. And then the last piece will then get grouped up with this one right here. And that's row 9. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you for reminding me to explain it. I appreciate it. All right, row number 8. Let's keep doing this. So row number 8, I've got that one right there. And I've got a big brown piece. And I'm still grouping it up in sets of 2. Next is black and brown. Now, it does not make a difference which way the seam is pointing because there's no seam here to line up. And the next one, there's also no seam to line up because it is the large black piece. So there's no seams there, so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, and then I have this one. And then I have this one. Again, doesn't make a difference which way that seam points. And then one of those. Good morning, or good afternoon, Alexander. We are doing block number 2. If you take a look at the title, we are doing block number 2 in our quilt along. All right, and then I need a solid piece right there. For more information, exclamation quilt along. All right, we've got this one here. Now, in this case, my next one has a seam, so I have to make sure that's going in the same direction, or opposite directions for nesting. This one's going towards the black, so the next one I also need to go towards the black because that's the piece that's on the bottom, and group them up. Okay, and then I've got a single little blue piece. Now, I have this one right here. This lonely little piece right here isn't grouped up with anything, but that's okay. I'm going to talk about him whenever we do some pin. We actually start pinning this and putting it together. All right, row number 7. Row 7. There's that one, and that, this, white and black, and white and brown, white and black. So far, no seams are going opposite, so I don't have to worry about where my seams are pointing. And then here, and here. And I've got that. Okay, so now this one seems a lot shorter than the others. I'm going to count these pieces to make sure I'm right. So this is row number 7. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'm good. It's just shorter whenever you combine it. All right, row number 6. I'm on to row number 6. Here's that one. And that one. And there. Now, this goes towards the white, so my next one, I also have to go towards the white for that. The next one should go towards the black, and then towards the black, towards the white. Okay, so there, 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 there. All right, and then I have a horizontal piece. So this one goes on the bottom. And then a black and white towards the black on top. Okay? And then now that's going down, so that's going to go up. So this one needs to go down towards the black and then towards the black. There we go. And then last but not least, that one on the end. Whew. Okay, that was row number 6. So 9, 8, 7, 6. Row number 5. Row 5. There's that one. And, oh, this is our first horizontal piece. So, I'm sorry, not horizontal. This is our first vertical piece, where you have 2 that are combined together, like this for a 2 1/2, 2 1/2. All right, in this case, our arrow is pointing to the right for row 5. So, it's a blue and white piece, so I need to make sure it's going towards the white. Oh, hey, look, I already grabbed it, the one towards the white. So this one is going towards the white already, so I can lay that down. Now, for those of you, if you're new to quilting, it is super, super important that your arrows are done correctly, that your seams point in the correct direction. The reason, that's towards the black, so I need to go towards the white. The reason is you want to make sure it all lines up so that whenever you're combining your rows together, your rows perfectly line up and you can nest those seams. Remember we talked about nesting the seams? You can talk about nesting the seams and you'll get perfect points every single time. So as long as you're following those arrows and you're laying your seams out the way that you're supposed to, you will get perfect points. All right, this is row number 4. So we have brown and white. Okay, that goes towards the brown, so the next one's also towards the brown. And then towards the black for black. Oh, you know what? I'm going to switch these and go towards the whites. Because I've got a whole bunch of black and brown combines that are going towards the brown. And so this way we'll do it. All right, so that's now towards the white. So that's towards the white. So now I want to go towards the brown, towards the brown, towards the brown. Okay? So then I need to go towards the white, and then towards the white. Uh-oh, I'm out of ones that are towards the white. I only have ones that are towards the brown for these larger pieces. So what I'm going to do is re-iron this. I'm just going to take this and re-iron it. There we are. And it's going to go that way. Fantastic. And then let's do this. I've got this small piece. Marina, thank you so much for the welcome. I super appreciate it. For anyone in my chat, you know I talked about it in Discord. I am now a member of the Yam Fam, which is an amazing, awesome stream team. I'm going to be talking about more about the stream team and stuff like that tomorrow night, whenever I'm back to a standard stream. Because tomorrow night we're doing the unboxing as well as some marbles, all the giveaways from today's stream and last Monday's stream. But of course today we're doing our quilt along, so I don't want to take time out of that because we do have all of these people around the world that are joining us in classes, as well as this video being put up on YouTube tomorrow for our quilt along. So the Yam Fam is an amazing, awesome, fantastic stream team that I'm super excited to be a member of. If you want to see more information on who is streaming and who is in the family, below, so down there, below the stream, you'll see Stream Team. You can click on that, or in the information panels, you can take a look at the stream teams. So I will be making sure that I talked about the stream team tomorrow more in depth. I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much for asking. I super appreciate that. Okay, so back to laying out our things. We're on 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Row 3. All right, let's do row 3. Now, I'm off my mat. Not a problem. We don't have to be on our mat. We can just go through here. So we've got that. And here. For anyone that is taking a class at a quilt store right now that is making this with us, if you're not familiar with Twitch, I realize I talked about the stream team. I should probably tell you what a stream team is. A stream team is people like myself, streamers, that we all have a common purpose, a common goal, and we all get together. And I belong to a couple different stream teams. And the Yam Fam is a new one that I've just joined. They've just accepted me in. And it's fantastic. If you're interested in information on stream teams, join us tomorrow night. I'm going to be talking about it. Okay. All right, so we've got black and blue. This is towards the blue. Our next one is towards the blue with brown. And again, we're grouping them up in groups of 2. All right, we have this next brown one here, and brown and white. That's towards the brown, so the next needs to go towards the black here. Brown and white towards the brown here, and then a white piece here. For those of you that are sewing along, how are you doing? Are you keeping up? Are you falling behind? Remember, it's perfectly okay if you're falling behind because you can watch this on YouTube starting tomorrow morning. But any questions, concerns, anything at all with laying the pieces out, with doing anything at all? Wait, 3, 2, 1, blast off. Nikki, was I counting down? Was I counting down at all? Is that why you did a 3, 2, 1 blast off? Let's see, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Puzzle Games Rule, thank you so much for that follow. I super appreciate you. Oh, I did? Okay. All right, row 3. There. I got distracted, and so I lost my place. Of course I did, right? Of course I randomly started giving numbers and talking, and because this is me. We know how I am. All right, next. Now, don't forget, in 30 minutes, we're going to be taking a stretch break, going to the bathroom. I'm going to play a little bit of bloopers, and we're going to sit down. We're going to do an Ask Me Anything for sewing and quilting. So if you have any general questions on quilting and sewing for not on the block we're working on right now, we're going to talk about stuff right there. So if you think of anything as we're going along, please write it down. And we'll have a nice AMA, which stands for Ask Me Anything situation. All right, so row 2. All right, this is another horizontal block. We have our blue and our brown. Needs to go towards the blue because our arrow in row 2 goes to the left. Now, you're not going to see row 1 because it's going to be all the way out there, but that's okay. All right, row 2 needs, I said, go towards the blue. Right there, perfect. And we've got here, we've got our brown, blue and brown. We've got that towards the blue. Uh-oh, I only have a small blue and brown piece left. I have to have the seam go towards the blue, and it's going towards the brown. So what do? We re-iron it. Fantastic. Now remember, I am not here, if you have not joined my stream before, I am not streaming from my normal place. I am streaming from on the road. I am down in Maryland. I'm actually streaming from the Tomorrow's Treasures quilt store for this quilt along today. Oops, I almost flipped the piece. I almost flipped the piece. So if you are in the Maryland area, this is the last day I will be here in the months of June and July, but I'll be back here in the month of August. So if you want to take this class with me live here in person at Tomorrow's Treasures, if you're in the Maryland area, it's free to sign up. Just give them a call, sign up. It's perfectly fine. All right, guys, I'm almost done. I'm on row number 1. Row number 1, row number 1. Okay, now this is a case where it's going towards the black, so I'll go towards the blue for the one before it. Because, see, I've got to go blue, I've got to do this. So I want to go based off of this one. So I'm cheating a little bit. I'm skipping ahead. And you can't see it all the way up here because it's my row number 1. You know, this is one of my favorite parts, when I'm laying everything out and I'm running out of pieces. Because it means I'm doing stuff right. Okay, and then this one. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Guys, I've got everything laid out. I am done. I am done. Look, look. You should have these 3 pieces left. If you're doing this along with me, if you're doing it with me, you should have 1, 2, 3 pieces left. Okay? If you have these pieces left, you've done it correctly. So I'm going to take these 3 pieces, and I'm going to set them aside over in my little area. Whew. Man, I've got everything laid out. And Marina, feel free to lurk. We got, as you can see, people quilt and they sew and they do things along with us. We have a ton of lurkers. So feel free to lurk. It's perfectly fine. All right. Guys. We're done with page 2. We're done with page 2. Page 3. Go on to page number 3. Page 3! All right, page 3. We have our horizontal pieces. We've got 3 tris horizontal pieces. Okay? 3 horizontal pieces. Look how the eyes kind of look funky. 3 horizontal pieces. Okay, Geeky Quilter, guys is a gender neutral term. I say it all the time. Guys and dudes are they're gender neutral for me. Gender neutral. Just so everyone knows. Okay. All right, so we have 3 horizontal pieces, row 2, row 6, and row 9. Okay? So 2, 6, and 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9. So we have those. All right? So row 2. If I'm going to do sign language, I got to make sure I do it right. Row 2. Horizontal piece. Now, in this case, there are no seams on either side. So I can just take this and flip the bottom up, which is the easiest. And I'm going to put a pin in the center. I'm going to line this up so my 2 edges are lined up nicely. I'm going to put a pin in the center, and then I'm going to put pins on either sides. There we go. So I've got that horizontal piece. Row 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right here. Now, in this case, the seams on either side of 6 are pointing down. Okay? So this one right here, I need to point up. So what I'm going to do is take the bottom, turn it up, but then turn this over. All right? So that in this case, now my white and my black is on the top. And then whenever I sew and iron it, my seam is going to be pointing this way. So it's going to be pointing up. All right, let's pin this in place. Yes, when I was in random Tony fact, when I was at university and I had to take a language, I stink at languages. I am not good at languages at all. Now, if you've ever seen me, which I'm sure most of you have, some of you haven't, this is maybe your first time because of the quilt along being with me, I talk with my hands, as you see. So language is really bad for me. I stink at languages. So I took ASL. I took American Sign Language. And you know what? I loved it. It was perfectly fine. I picked up on it really fast. All right. Our last horizontal piece is row number 9. So all the way at the bottom, right here. We're going to take this one. Now, this is another one where the seams on either side are both facing down. So we're going to take this. I'm going to take the bottom, flip it up, and then turn it over. So if you want the seam to go up, if you want the seam to point that way, turn the piece over after taking the bottom and flipping it up over the top. If you want it to go down, just flip it up. Just take that bottom piece and flip it up. It's perfectly fine. All right, so we have our 3 horizontal blocks. Let's do some sewing. Let's do some sewing. So we're going to sew these horizontal blocks. Okay? Oops, let me go back to my chat. There we go. I'm dropping my phone. Drop my phone. Your college wouldn't let you take ASL as a proper English? Oh, that's, no. It is definitely a proper language credit for me. It is definitely a proper, yes. No, ASL was great. I loved it. That was at University of Maryland, Baltimore County is what I graduated from. And it's an honors university too, so that's what I did my undergrad with. All right, we're going to sew these. So, do as I say, not as I do. Don't sew over your pins. For all of you out and taking classes right now at quilt stores, don't do this. It's a horrible habit. You can throw the timing off on your machine. You can break your needle. You can do all sorts of things. Do not sew over your pins at all. There you go. And number 3. Number 3. Scrap fabric, because we are doing, my gosh. Words with the thing. Words. Chain piecing. We're doing chain piecing. Man, yes, you'll get a close-up of me sewing over those pins next Monday when I'm back at my home studio. All right, so now let's separate these. So we're going to separate these out, and I'm taking the pins out. Because remember, don't sew over your pins. Don't do what I do. Do as I say. Now, if you've done this correctly, all you have to do now is iron it. So all we have to do at this point is take these and flip and iron them. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to lay them out just like that. So I have not turned them over. I haven't done anything at all. I've just laid them on the ironing board. And we're going to iron. Oh, the comment that we had earlier about locking the seam, this is what you do. You iron it first, and then you iron it to the side. And that locks the seam. It actually helps it a little bit. There we go. All right, we have our pieces. So now we're going to take our pieces, and we're going to put them back into the picture. I completely agree, Puzzle. I completely agree. All right, so we have this. This one is our blue with our brown, so this belongs down here. And I'm going to go ahead and group this up. This one is our brown with our black, and this is row 6, so it goes here. And I'll move this over. And this is it goes this way. So I'm referencing the 3 rows that have the circles of where these are. And this goes up here. And there we are. So all of our pieces are ready to go. They're all laid out. Next step, assemble each row, sewing right sides together and seams facing the direction of the arrow. All right, let's do this. Now, Ready for trick? Ready for Tony trick for efficiency? I'm going to start with row number 9. All right? Row number 9. The arrows are pointing to the right. So, because they're going, this is the trick that I use to remember. To the right arrow means I take the right piece. I'm going to flip it over the left piece and then pin it in place. Okay? So, arrow to the right means I'm picking up the right piece, flipping it over the left, and pinning it in place. So in this case, right over left, pinning it in place. Now, I'm making sure that these seams nest up. I'm taking my finger, and I'm making sure that these two seams are butting up right against each other. That takes a little bit of practice in order to make sure that you've got it right. So you may take a little longer doing that in order to make sure that they line. So in this case, right over left, making sure those seams are lined up, and pinning it in place. Now, you need to put a pin in where that seam is. You don't have to put a pin on the right and the left. I do, just because a little anal retentive with things. I really want to make sure that that's done correctly. So I put pins everywhere. I firmly believe you can never have too many pins. That's just what I do. Okay? Oh, excuse me, man. Oh, allergies. Okay, right over left, and pinning it into place. Now, in this case, there's no seam on the top, but I'm still going to put a pin in the center where that seam is. And that's going to make sure that that seam, so I have a pin right there. It's going to make sure that that seam that's on the opposite side is not going to catch and flip and cause issues whenever I'm sewing. All right, and let's do this. We're going to pin, we're going to pin. All right, ready for row 8. Row number 8. We got 8. 8. The arrow is pointing to the left. Okay? We're pointing to the left. So I'm going to take my left piece, flip it over the right piece. Because remember, if it's pointing to the left, left over right. And then pin it in place. And what this does is it makes sure that whenever you sew and then iron it, you don't have to worry about making sure you're ironing it the correct direction. You're already setting yourself up for success by laying it out the correct way. All right? So, left over right and pinning in place. All right, I'm going to move my chair over because you can't see me anyways, and I'm actually going to sit down as I finish pinning all this. Any questions, concerns, anything at all? Everyone understands the direction of the arrow with your seams, right? And everyone understands that the arrow is pointing left. I'm going to take my left piece, flip it over the right, and pin it in place. Oops, let's get that. That seam didn't want to go. Uh-oh. All right. I'm at row number 8. Okay. Row number 8 is our first time we have this lonely little piece. We have a lonely little piece over here all by itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our lonely little piece. We're just going to set it right there. We're going to make sure we include this lonely little piece the next time around. And you know what? My chat, I think, because I see something on the computer I don't see in here. The last thing I see is by Nikki about ASL. So I'm going to reset my Twitch so that I get chat again. So whatever was just said, I did not see it. There we go. Okay, fantastic. I've got that up again. All right, so now I am on row number 7. So row number 7, the seams are to the right. So I'm going to pick up the right piece, flip it over the left, and then pin it into place. Thank you very much, Ministry. I appreciate that. Okay, so this is to the right, flipping over left, and pinning in place. One is the loneliest number. Yes, yes. But remember, we're going to make sure that lonely little piece is not going to sit out all by itself. We're going to make sure we include that the next time. And I didn't see if anyone had any questions at all about how I do the arrows, about the way the seams are going to point. It's only on a break. Yeah, sometimes the pieces want to be off by themselves. They want to be on a break. You know what? Every now and then, we all need to be by ourselves now and then. We all need to be by ourselves now and then. Right over left and pin in place. Hello, Thusius. How are you today? All right, next up, 9876, row 6 is to the left. So we're going to take this one, the left piece, flip it over the right, and pin it in place. Because our arrows are going towards the left. Now, after we finish pinning all of these blocks, we are going to take a small break. I will give you some bloopers. I'm going to have a snack. I'm going to get some water. And we're going to do an AMA on quilting and sewing. So if you have any questions on anything in general, on me with quilting and sewing, on any general questions at all, that is the time to ask. So we'll take a 15-minute break, and then we'll be back doing this. To watch your quilting shows? Yes. Ministry, that would be a question for the 3 o'clock break. So for right now, we're just doing questions on this. That way those people that are watching on YouTube can fast forward through that area if they don't feel like watching that. So remind me whenever we take our break soon. All right, this is right over left because our arrow is pointing to the right. So whenever we take that break, remind me of that question and I'll answer it. There we go. Got that. Hey guys, we're halfway. We're at row number 5. We are at halfway points. Woohoo! I know, doesn't a snack and water sound good? I brought 2 whole bottles of water. Which is why we need to have a break because, you know, when you drink that much water, you're going to need to go to the bathroom. I mean, it's just, I know it sounds fake that whenever you drink water, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. Okay, making sure. I'm like, I got scared there for a moment. I'm like, am I doing it the right direction? I am. I know when you drink water, it sounds fake that it would make you need to go to the restroom, but yes, it does. All right, 4, going to the left. Left over right. Coffee and donut. Well, Geeky Quilter, it is what, 6 a.m. where you are? So I am sure coffee and a donut sound good to you right now. All right, pinning into place. Now, we're also, 4:50 in the morning. Oh, it's not quite. I keep forgetting, add 2 hours and then make it the opposite time of day is Geeky Quilter's time. So we're left over right and pinning it in place. Yes, it is. Geeky Quilter lives in the future. It is Tuesday for him. It is. Left over right. And pinning it into place. Left over right and pin into place. You know what I forgot to mention earlier as well when Jan Bear threw up his subscription renewal? All right, row number 3. 3 is right over left and pinning into place. Jan Bear is also another professional quilter. And Jan Bear has his own pattern line, which is freaking amazing. I like that. Hello from the past. So, Geeky Quilter, I don't know if I've ever asked you, have you developed any patterns for a pattern line yet? And I keep yelling at Jan Bear to share his patterns in Discord and to talk to us about them. They're pretty cool. They are pretty cool patterns. One of these days I will get him to link them. All right. Row 3, so we're still doing right over left and pinning that into place. There we go. Right over left. We're almost there. We only have 2 more rows. Yes, I know you helped test and develop the Harry Potter quilt along that just happened. And that's cool. You're trying to do a Zelda quilt along. That is super cool. Let me know when that's available. We will make sure to talk about it. There we go. Now, the timer that just came up, I should talk about that. We do now have a Facebook group for this quilt along. So if you would like to join the Facebook group, whether you're quilting or not, we have a group that you can actually see progress photos from other people that are making this. You can also see, answer any questions, ask questions. Jan Bear actually put events for each of the streams. So if you would like a reminder from Facebook that the stream is starting, if you want to join us for each of the blocks, it's pretty darn cool. So I'm really, really happy. It was Geeky Quilter's idea, and Jan Bear has run with it and has set up a ton of stuff with it. Oh yes, wedding, yes, that's right, because Geeky Quilter is getting married in 1 month, right? 1 month. Telfy Chalk, that is, so you're talking about the actual sandwiching, quilting, and binding. I actually stream all that as well. I do have free motion quilting days. I have binding days. I do all of that on Facebook, here on Twitch, in order to teach you all the steps. So I will actually be doing that. We won't be having it part of the quilt along, but I will be showing you how to finish it off as well, if you want to join us on Twitch or on YouTube. So it won't be official things, but yes. I will make sure that I will show you those steps as well. So those are great questions. Because sandwiching, quilting, and binding is an important step.
Congratulations, you have just followed Quiltopia. Your taste must be exceptional.
Thank you so much for that follow, Teffy Chalk. I appreciate it. So I always, if you join the Discord, !Discord, I always talk about what we're doing in Discord, or if you follow me on social media, on Facebook and Twitter, I actually talk about, hey, this is going to be a free motion quilting day. This is going to be a binding day. I make sure I do all of that. All right, so we are row number 1. Row number 1, the arrow is pointing to the right. So because that arrow is pointing to the right, we're picking up that right piece, flipping it over the left piece, and pinning it in place. Yes, very high fiber sandwiches. Quilt sandwiches are high in fiber. All right, and last but not least, our last piece. So we're taking this right piece, flipping it over the left, and pinning it in place. There we go. As you see, I now have all of my rows, all pinned, ready to go. They're all in place. We're going to move this chair back over here. So, that being said, it is break time. Think of the questions you want for an Ask Me Anything for anything quilting or sewing related. I'm going to give you some bloopers really quick while I run to the bathroom and grab a snack and some water. I just have to remember to mute my mic so you don't hear me in the bathroom. So, if you have any questions or anything at all, let me know. And when I come back, we're going to do an Ask Me Anything. So it is now 2:57. So at 3:13, I'm giving you an extra minute. At 3:13, we're going to get started again. If you're watching on YouTube, if you don't care about this part, you can fast forward 15 minutes. So I will be back. Hi, I'm Tony. I am a professional video game comic book quilter. I do this for a living. What did you do after I was? But you can't go in on top of that box because you're gonna fall over. Oh, he wanted to go in the box. You're gonna fall. No, no, no. Oh, no. Oh. He fell over. Yes, the defend is strong with this chat. Seriously, cat. Okay, Granite has got this weird thing where he goes and then throws up everywhere. Whoops! Oops! I scared. I scared the cat. What do you think you're doing? Oh, stupid mother. Yes, it's in a Y, and then you want to sew down. Ow! Ah! Oh my god, my putty bone, it's not putty, it hurts.
Computer, add a cat to my cart. It looks like Amazon doesn't sell cats.
Oh my god, that's funny. I will dance.
Imagine seeing that on your television.
I know, right?
Just imagine.
All right, I had to come over here so I can unmute my mic. All right, so thank you. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Okay, so question was, well, how many quilts do I make in a month? And for those of you who are just joining us, we're on break right now. We're going to go back to the quilt along in about 13 minutes. I think like probably about 2-piece quilts. I make probably about 10 to 12 panel quilts a month, minimum. Sometimes I do more. Panel quilts are super easy to do. And of course I do the random like things in addition to it. I have made quite a few hundred quilts in my lifetime. Because I'm fast. I'm really fast. Does that answer your question? All right, anything else? Any other questions on quilting or sewing or anything else? You like my snack? I got Mott's Fruitations. I got little gummies. You're welcome, Ministry. I make a lot of quilts. It's funny. So on the other side, so this, you actually don't hear anything at all from the store. Because the way that this quilt store has things set up, this studio where they have all the classes is actually a separate building than the actual quilt store. So the quilt store is like down the hill, right over there. So this is the classroom studio where they actually do stuff. Attached to here on the other side is a vet. And it's interesting because every now and then I see someone walking by with a dog. It's one of the vet technicians that's taking dogs for walks. so they're not in the kennel all the time. All right, do I have a favorite fabric designer? Ooh. I would, if I have to pick a favorite fabric designer, I'm going to be silly and pick my friend, Tamarini's, because I love her. And because I love anything she designs, because it's amazing and fantastic. Tamarinis. Now, I am biased, because she's my friend. If I have to pick a favorite fabric line, so a line of fabric that I'm in love with that I do not, if I only ever had to use this fabric line for the rest of my life and I would be okay, would be Stonehenge. I have always been in love with Stonehenge, which is, so when I had the opportunity to work with Northcott and actually be a pattern designer, so this quilt along is actually done in conjunction with Northcott. Northcott has allowed me to use all of their stuff. They have sent me to Toscana for free for me to work with. Northcott's just an amazing company. So the reason why I work with Northcott is because I love the Stonehenge line so much. Like, I have been in love with the Stonehenge line since I first learned how to sew and quilt, which it's been around for 10, 11 years now. So yeah, I'm so in love with that one. All right, anything else? We got like 10 minutes. All right, I'm gonna stand and stretch. Have you been sitting in the class? Oh, stand, open your arms, stretch out. This actually helps get your blood flow going. Now remember, if you are in the Maryland area, if you want to join me here live in class, you can do it. August. I will be back in town in Maryland in August. Okay? There have been opportunities for doggo streams and you've been denying chat. Wait, what? Wait, opportunities for dog streams where? Oh, because I'm at my parents' house, you mean? Well, you're going to have Marley tomorrow. So Marley's with me on this trip. So you'll see Marley tomorrow night. Oh, the vet next door. No, because he's doing his job. He's just like walking by with the dogs. So no, unfortunately we can't have dogs on stream today. I know, the dogs are like walking by the windows. I couldn't have the camera any other direction because of the windows that are there and there, because they had glare. So I actually had to move the studio a bit and do it around. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been denying it. Hello, Donuts. How are you? Now, ministry, best project I've done. My favorite, or the one that I think has turned out the best, that looks the best? So do you want my favorite one that I have done? Or I should probably answer both of those. So my favorite one that I have done, that I loved working on it, it was my like I really liked making it, was my Dr. Mario quilt. The Dr. Mario one that I did about 7-8 months ago. I think that one is my favorite one to date. I really liked figuring that out and putting that together. It was a lot of fun. The one that I think looks the best, that when everyone sees it, when I'm at a convention and they open up my book and they look in the book and they go, oh, the quilt that I think everyone's like flabbergasted that they love and it looks the best, that I'm like proud of that I did, but I'm never making it again, I don't care how much money you're throwing at me, is the Maleficent. And if you want to see what the Maleficent looks like, she is on my website under commissions. So exclamation quilts, you can go on the website and look under commissions, and then you can see her. That was the most horrible quilts in the world I have ever made, and I hated it. It is a queen size quilt with squares smaller, the 1/2-inch squares. 1/2-inch finished squares. No, the Zelda, it's fine. The stained glass Zelda, it looks cool, and it's hard to make, but it's not my favorite, and it's not the best, I think. But the Maleficent was the best one I think I've ever done, and I hate it. It was a pain. It was a pain to do a lot. It was bad. So, all right. You want to get started early again, or do you have any more questions? Anything else you want to answer, or should I get started with, because I've stretched, I've gone to the bathroom, I've had a snack, I've had some more water. Anything else quilting, sewing related questions? Now, tomorrow you can ask, now, when we're not doing the quilt along streams, feel free to ask any questions anytime, for anything. Like, I don't care. Like, I talk about my life, my animals, my family. Start early, finish early, yep. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's just for the quilt along, we want to make sure that everything stays quilt and sewing related, since we do have people joining us for this. Okay, let's get started again. All right, so we are still on page number 3. We are in step number 6. Assemble each row, sewing the right sides together and the seams facing the direction of the arrow. So here's what I'm going to do. All I'm doing, and I'm going to show you on the close-up camera, when you see me reaching over to grab the rows, all I'm doing is I'm reaching over and I'm... What happened? What? What happened? What? No, the camera wasn't bumped. I haven't touched the camera. Maybe it did? I mean, I don't think it did, but maybe it did. Oh, you know what? It may have pulled that. It may have pulled, yeah, no, you're right. The camera may have been bumped. Okay, there we go. Fantastic. Yeah, it shifted. That's fine. Okay, so as I was saying, all I'm doing when I'm reaching over is I'm reaching over like this and grabbing the row and then bringing it back over. Okay? So I'm reaching it and I'm taking it. So I will show you the ironing and everything else at the next step. Okay? So I just wanted to show you what you can't see in there. Okay. The earth shifted. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it did. So reaching over, row number 1. And I think I didn't quite put it all the way. So I don't think you can see row number 1. But you can see row 10. But that's okay. That's okay. All right. So, I mean, it wasn't like that before the break, right? It didn't shift before the break. All right. So I'm taking my scrap and setting it aside. So remember, guys, do as I say, not as I do. Do not sew over your pins. It is a horrible habit that I do. Don't do this. All right, so now I'm going to reach over and grab row number 2. And I'm going to put the first one of row number 2 in. I'm sorry, row 9. I put the first one of row 8 in, and I'm going to trim off row number 9. All right? Now, this is what's called the cutting gizmo. It's from the Gypsy Quilter. I purchased it. I love it. It is fantastic. All I'm doing with this is I'm trimming it. If you want to see information on this, it's !snip. And let's move our pins over So it is a great way to separate your chained pieces. So if you want a quick, easy way to separate the chained pieces, all you do is you get yourself a cutting gizmo. Now I'm taking this and just putting it back over into row number 1. Or there are some people that have created their own cutting gizmos using empty spools of thread. Well, empty, so there's no thread. Using empty spools and then putting a seam ripper sticking out of the top of it. Now, it's great. It would save you money. But you have a seam ripper sticking out of something that's not very safe. I couldn't do that because knowing clumsy me, I would like attach myself to it and I would like cut myself, and no, it's not a safe thing for me. It is not a safe thing at all for Tony. Yes. Oh no, ministry. I am always up front with, hey, these are my bad habits. Don't do my bad habits. Oh, thanks, Geeky Quilter. It would make for a I like how you're like, oh, that'd be a really good stream blooper. Yeah, if I reach over and I stab myself down on the seam ripper. Yeah, exactly. If there's any blood shown, it would break terms of service. No blood shown on camera, so that would break Twitch terms of service. We don't want to do that. We don't want to break terms of service at all. That would not be a good thing. Yes, and for those of you that are new to Twitch, Svava, hi Svava. Svava put in a no talkenings. So Talk Custom, oh, I don't want to take that yet. I got to finish this one. Talk Custom is another sewing streamer. Very not family friendly, very not PG. Do not follow Talk Custom if you would like a family friendly PG stream. He is not those things. But he is an amazing sewer. He's a wonderful entertainer. His streams are a lot of fun. Switch to grayscale? No, it's not fine, ministry. That would still break terms of service. Unfortunately, he had a misstep with a rotary cutter and sliced himself. It was not very pretty. It was, yeah, he's very not family-friendly PG. So if you would like a family-friendly stream for any reason at all, don't go follow Talk Custom. But if you don't mind a little swearing or adult talk, then he's a great streamer. So yes, so that's what Svava was referring to, because on one of his streams, he did unfortunately cut himself with a rotary cutter. And so because he broke terms of service, he actually had to go back and delete the video and delete any clips that people made of it, or else he would have been in trouble. Yeah. And it is not pleasant when that happens. Please, please, please always practice safe rotary cutting. So that's one of the reasons why I do like the Stripology ruler so much. It prevents miscuts. It prevents the ruler moving and shifting. And that's one of the reasons why you may cut yourself sometimes, is the ruler shifts and moves. Hi, Wayne. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It was great seeing you. Yeah, so the Stripology rulers are great rulers, and I really do like them a lot. And they prevent a lot of miscuts, accidents, things like that may happen. So they're really, really good. Wayne, I will be talking about Too Many Games tomorrow night. We are doing block number 2 of our quilt along today. So tomorrow night is when I'm going to be doing all the giveaways from the last 2 Mondays of the quilt along, as well as talk about Too Many Games, the trip, things like that. So if you want to join us and chat about that tomorrow night is when we're going to be doing the talking while we're doing giveaways. So I also have a small unboxing. I have, if you're interested in the exhibit that I'm going to have in Houston in October, I will have a small unboxing stream for some stuff that's going to pertain to that. So I'll be able to show you some stuff off. I also may be showing you my quilt tops because I have all 4 done. So I may be showing those off tomorrow as well. I've not decided yet, so we will see. Now, at this point, for block number 2, all I'm doing is sewing the pieces, separating them, and taking the pins out. Okay, that's all I'm doing at this point. So it's pretty straightforward. Now, as I'm putting it back over there, I'm putting them in the exact same place as I took them from. So, and I'll show you that before I start ironing. I'll switch the camera and show you. All right, let's separate these. And take the pins out. So this is probably the most boring part of the block assembly, is the sewing and separating. Because I keep getting up and moving and sitting down again, I keep shocking myself with static electricity. There we are. Now, if you're chain sewing, the biggest thing that I mess up on for this step sometimes is whenever I start sewing the next row, I forget to trim it from the previous row. And then I'll have 2 rows combined in there. It's not the end of the world, but you do have to keep an eye on it. AJPS, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. That should appear eventually through Streamlabs on the screen. Now, if you're just joining us for the first time, if you're not at a quilt store right now, or didn't join us last week, if you're interested in this quilt along, !quilt along for more information about it. If you can use a sewing machine, you can do my patterns. You can follow along and do my patterns. 2, 3. So as long as you can sew that straight line, you can do them. There it is. See, I knew it was going to show up eventually. Thank you so much for putting that in there. Yes, exactly. So if you weren't here last week for week number 1, which was our bubble sore, this one is called Hunting Dog. So if you weren't here last week for week number 1, it is on YouTube. So !social, so take a look at my social media. I do have my Twitch schedule on both Facebook and Twitter at all times because I do lots of traveling and teaching, right? So I have a weird schedule sometimes where I'm a little all over the place. So if you do want to watch last week's, it is on YouTube. And of course, if you have any questions, you can comment there onto YouTube, or you can just pop into Twitch and ask on Twitch. There we go. All right, one more row after this. See, now we're into the actual assembly part, where we're actually assembling the rows together. We're actually putting rows together. You're going to start seeing a picture. All right. And last but not least, next week I showed you the first 3 blocks of the quilt at the beginning of the stream. If you weren't here, next week is block number 3, which is Dark Mage. Dark Mage is a miniature version of the pattern that I have for sale that you can purchase online or from your local quilt store. If you want a physical pattern, I do not ship physical patterns. I only do the online PDFs. If you would like a physical pattern, you must visit your local quilt store for that. There we go. So the block number 3 is actually a small version of our existing one. It is inspired by Black Mage from Final Fantasy. So that is block number 3. Now, whenever we do our assembly for week 13, you don't have to assemble your quilt the way that we assemble ours. You can assemble your quilt any way you like. So I just have the layout that I like for mine, right? All right, there's row number 2. Now, we're at the very end, so we're going to take our scrap fabric, put it in, and free our last row. There we are. All right, ready for the next step? We're going to do some ironing. We're going to get all that together. There we are. All right. I think I'm going to adjust the camera again just to make sure. Yeah, that's what I thought. There you go. There's block number 1, right there. Perfect. Okay, let's take a look at this. Oh, you know what I just realized? Because I looked over here, my chat froze again. Or am I going to assemble this one the same as I did the last, or mixing it up? I'm going to assemble it the same exact way. So I am going to assemble it in the same way that I've done it before, so that you'll be able to see how I've done that. Okay, so I've got that. Perfect. All right. Ironing. We have our rows, right? So we have them sewn, we have them laid out. What I'm going to do is one row at a time. I'm going to take them, and I'm going to lay them out. Just like this. Oh, my iron went to sleep. I've got to wake it up. And then all I did was I laid them straight out. I didn't turn any of them. I didn't do any of that. I just laid it straight out. So I'm going to iron them this way. If you've done this correctly and you haven't flipped anything as you've been working on it, you should be ironing them in the correct direction, so that it's going to save you that extra step of laying it out and seeing which way you should be ironing it. There we go. It is green. Look at those perfect points. Look at those perfect points. As long as you nest those seams, you should get those perfect points every time. All right. Now, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So I'm going to pick them up in the opposite direction that I laid them out. Now, here's the trick. This goes to the right. So my seams need to point to the right, because that's the way that the arrow goes. Good. Hello, Zorania. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay it out. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. And I'm going to look to make sure, does everything line up? Yep, everything lines up. Everything looks good. Fantastic. Now let's pin it. All right, so in this case, seams to the right. So I'm still picking up that right piece over the left piece and pinning it into place. Good morning, Azure. Hi, Anna. So we're flipping it and pinning it. If you're just joining us, if you want to do the quilt along, if you missed the beginning, it's perfectly fine. This video is going up on YouTube tomorrow. There's nothing like doing it, like interacting live. But you can always go back and rewatch and catch up. And there, now we have a lonely little piece we're just going to put right there. Same thing right here. So I'm taking these pieces, I'm laying them out. 4, 5, just like that, and then ironing it. If you would like to share, if you're doing the quilt along with us and you want to share your block or ask questions or just see blocks that other people are doing, you don't even have to be part of the quilt along in order to be part of the Facebook group. We have a Facebook group now. As of a few days ago, as of last Tuesday. We didn't even have it last Monday. And then I'm picking it up in the opposite direction. So exclamation quilt along if you want to see the group, if you want to join. It'll be a lot of fun. You are more than welcome to lurk. Okay, in this case, seams need to go to the left because row number 8, seams are to the left. So now we're going to lay this out. Now, at this point, I have a problem with flipping pieces. At this point, this is where you see if you have flipped and turned any pieces upside down to make sure. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 pieces, so you know what that means? This lonely little piece out here is going to be included automatically because there's an even number of pieces. All right, arrow goes to the left, so I'm taking the left piece over the right piece and pinning it into place. So same exact thing of what I did in the first pass, and I call these my pass-throughs. So the first pass was the initial pinning. This is the second pass. With the second pass, you always want to make sure if you've had any lonely little pieces that were not included in the first pass, that are out there all on their own, that you make sure to include them. And the arrows are still the same. So if you picked the right piece over the left in the first pass, you're still picking the right piece over the left piece in the second pass. All right, now for the next row. 2, 3, 4, 5. So any questions about ironing, laying them out, basically just doing the second pass or any of those individual things. You guys got it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. This row seams are to the right. So let's lay this out. Now, if you've ever watched me quilt, not part of the quilt along, you may remember that I go at a super fast pace. All right, seams go to the right, so right over left. And there's no lonely little piece I have to make sure to include. So I tend to go a little fast. This is part of my problem. I'm going a little slower for this to make sure that I explain every step and to make sure that you understand what I'm doing. A lot of times when I'm just making quilts for sale or for commissions, I go so fast that I flip pieces. I didn't see that one. I don't see that on here. I have no clue who just followed me because AJ followed me the last time and it didn't show up, the activity feed. Let me reset this and see if this works. There we go. Freezer Peach. Freezer Peach, thank you so much for that follow. I appreciate it. Now, we have this lonely little piece here, remember? But it was a combination. It wasn't lonely by itself before. So it's going to sit right there. Perfect. All right, what was I saying? Oh, yes, I move so fast sometimes that I seem to not pay attention sometimes when I'm laying pieces out. And so I flip pieces upside down. In fact, if I show you my exhibit quilts tomorrow, There are flip pieces in at least 2 of them that I've seen. All right, this one goes to the left. Oh, I forgot to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great, so our lonely little piece is going to get included. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's make sure that all my pieces are good. I didn't flip anything. Good. Yes. Nope, we're good. All right, and it's left to right, so I'm going to take my left piece over my right piece and pin it in place because my arrow points to the left.
Congratulations, you have just followed Quiltoni. Your taste must be exquisite.
Riff Traximai, thank you so much for that follow. I appreciate it. And for anyone just joining us or following us, we are doing a quilt along. If you're interested in the quilt along, if you are not, now, these may be people that are sitting in a class right now, that are participating. They're like, hey, maybe I want to chat too. If you're not, if you are interested in the quilt along, there is the information on it. Look at my braid that like kind of hangs down in my way. All right, let's do this row. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then backwards. All right, and this one, it goes to the right. Okay? Now, an easy cheater way of doing it. You know the blue is the background. So your blue should be framing what you're working on. If I were to lay it out like this, that is a red flag because this blue should not be on the opposite side of that. Now, there are a couple of exceptions. For example, his ears up at the top. You have some blue underneath it there. But for the most part, you should be able to take a look at that. Yeah, granite would be attacking it. I completely agree. All right, it's to the right. So I'm picking my right piece over my left piece and pinning it into place. Yeah, granite, which is one of my cats, loves to hang on my braids. Absolutely loves just to hang off the braids. There we go. Next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, after I'm done with this, after I'm done sewing, oh, someone went through the other, I'm like, where did that come from? Someone just went through the other door. There we go. I've got that. Now, after 2, 3, 4, 5, there we go. After I finish ironing and repinning all of this, then at that point, I'll go back and do the same exact thing that I was doing before. All right, this is to the left. So I will actually go through and re-sew these line by line by line. Ignore the beeping. All right, we've got that. So in this case, I said seams to the left. Let's make sure this is all correct. I'm sure there's people in the store that want to pull things out of this area, but not actually come through and disturb the stream. All right, so we've got that. All right, so the left. So we're picking the left piece over the right piece and pinning it in place. There we go. Left over right. And remember, it's okay we have this lonely little piece here because it was included in the first pass. If it's not included in the second pass, it's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's our last lonely little piece sitting right there, but it's going to be an even number. so I don't have to worry about making sure that I include it. It's going to be included. Now, I know chat is super quiet today because everyone is working hard. Oops, wait, hold on. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yes, I did that right. Wait, did I? Hold on. Yes, I did. Okay, making sure I did it correctly. I know everyone is working hard on their blocks. This is to the right. Uh-oh. Yes, okay, that's right. Phew, I was looking at the wrong one. To the right. Sometimes, every now and then, I flip it wrong. Oops, oops. That's wrong. No, it's not. Oh, no. This is what I'm talking about right here. See these 3 pieces? There, and it goes a little piece of the background, black in there. This is inside the ear. So this is what threw me off. This is inside the ear, so it's perfectly fine. All right, so this is the 3rd row, so right over left and pinning into place. So yes, no, as I was saying, is I'm sure chat is quiet because people are busy. And I was totally expecting this. People are busy, busy, busy. Now, the schedule the next week. Tomorrow, like I said a couple of times, we are doing our convention wrap-up / giveaway stream / unboxing. So you get to see all the stuff that I'm doing. So that'll be tomorrow evening from 6 to 9. Then the next stream is going to be next Monday. So next Monday, I'll be back home again in Ontario. Oops, yes, to the right. I'll be back home again in Ontario. So you will be able to see the 3rd block from my home studio. So if you saw the bloopers, a lot of the blooper stuff that was happening, that's in my home studio. Well, with the exception, of course, of the stream from the A&E plant in North Carolina, which is the last clip on there, which is a lot of fun. I still have to upload that stream. That was a stream that I did. I went to the A&E plant. They make Gutermann thread. They make Signature, Robinson Anton. They also do a bunch of commercially made stuff. So we went and actually took a tour of the facility, which was super, super cool. And then we did a stream all about threadication. All about education of, talking about thread, what, different weights of thread, what you use thread for, stuff like that. Oh, Anna, you're done with your block. Were you the one that tagged me and I commented on your Instagram about you're done with your block already? There was someone that last night finished their, I just released the pattern yesterday morning, and somebody last night had already finished the block. That's awesome. That is you. It looks great. You did a great job. I followed you back, by the way, on Instagram. Because I went through and I looked at your stuff, and I'm like, I need to be following her. Thank you very, very much for the compliment on the patterns. I super appreciate it. I try to make sure that they're easy to read. And seriously, once you have done one pattern, you can do any of the patterns. They're all basically the same. It's just a matter of different colors, laying things out, all that lovely stuff. All right, and this is the last row to the right. Oops. I picked it up in the wrong order. Nope. They're just in a different... I picked it up in the wrong order. There we go. See, and that's why I lay things out the way that I do. You can't see it off the camera, but it was wrong. All right, right over left. Right over left. See, and the way that I quilt is completely different than any other way that I've seen. Because a lot of times you'll see stripping, or you'll see chunking, or you'll see design work, or other things like that. Mine is so different. But I try to break it down in an easy way, easy to understand way. All right, let's do some sewing. Ready to do some sewing? You ready? I wondered when I picked them up. I know, right? Like, I think when I picked them up, I picked them up in the wrong order. Oops. 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 It happens. Is that what I did? Did I pick them up wrong? And that's what happens. So if you pick them up in the wrong order, it's not the end of the world. You just look at the picture and you're like, oh, it should be this way. Oh, I did 3, 4, 5. Yes. Yes. I think I did too. Because that's the way it was when I laid it out. It was like 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. It was weird. All right. Now this one is another easy square, is another easy block, or maybe, I know, right? I don't even know the order. It was weird. This one's another easy block, so we'll definitely finish before 5 o'clock. So this will be another one. Now, the Mario, the Plumber Hero, and the, Adventurer. I was trying to think of the one that was inspired by Link. I was trying to think what we named him. Adventurer. So those two blocks are actually the hardest and most complicated. If we go over time, any of the streams, it would probably be one of those two. So if you are, in fact, streaming me live or streaming me from YouTube at a quilt shop, keep that in mind for those two blocks. And that would be, what blocks are those, Nikki, your geeky quilter? I think 5? I don't remember. I don't remember. Something? Now remember, I'm still chain sewing, so I'm chain piecing. So putting stuff into the machine, having something constantly in, they're probably checking. Block 8 and 9, thank you. Thank you, they both said at the same time. They're both checking. So if you are, if you're taking a class at a quilt store, or if a quilt store is teaching classes, blocks 8 and 9. Oh, I think I'm going to be here. Okay, so 3 is next week. So July, you have 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'm going to be here. I will be in Maryland. So if you wanted to do any of those here live, if you're in the Maryland area, just contact Tomorrow's Treasures, sign up, and they can have you be here. Tomorrow is 6 to 9 Eastern. So don't forget, my schedule is always on my Facebook, as well as on my Twitter and in my Discord. Tomorrow I'll be a little bit more entertaining. We aren't going to be focused and making a block. we'll actually be doing a lot of more informal chatting and maybe play some marbles. Maybe have some fun. Okay, and that's what we normally do on my Twitch stream. But we also sew. 3 more. It's driving me crazy. I've got this like little thing of hair right there. It's like short, and it doesn't quite go behind my ear. And it keeps falling into my face. And I'm all like, hair. Right there. Like a little piece of hair. And I keep trying to go like right or left or right and get it out of my way. And it's not going. And it's driving me crazy. August 12th and 19th. Nice. Okay. Oh, I'm always entertaining? Thank you, Ministry. Thank you. Thank you. I try. But whenever we do stuff like this for our quilt, whenever we do our quilt-alongs, we have to focus a little bit more. Our 2 more rows to sew. Yeah, so August 12th and 19th, I will definitely be here in Maryland. For today's class, I had 2 people signing up that they were going to be here. And they didn't come, but that's okay. So normally what happens for classes like this, because they're free, they bought the fabric at the store so they can take a free class. Yes, no, I don't squirrel as much. You're absolutely right, because I have to focus. So if you sign up for a free class, people aren't invested. They don't have to do it, right? So because they're not invested, because they don't have to do it, they don't feel any obligation. So if they just don't feel like going, they don't go. Which is not a problem. Now, for me, I'm doing this no matter what. It's not like I'm showing up and I'm not teaching the class if they don't come. No, I'm doing it anyways because we're live streaming this to people around the world. All right, this is the last one. See, the second pass goes a lot faster than the first pass. And then let's take our scrap and put our scrap in. Yep, that could be it. And that's one of the reasons why I had these classes on Mondays, because it's one of those things that they normally don't have a regular class on Mondays. And so it's a lot easier to say, hey, let's do this cool special thing on Mondays. All right, let's do this. Let's turn on my iron. All right, so we just have two to iron now for this. Oh, I have a case where it's not a perfect seam. So, 3-foot rule. If you look at something and you're like, hey, that's not perfect, I don't like this, put it someplace. Stand back 3 feet. If you don't see it right away, immediately, nobody is ever going to see it. So, in this case, it looks straight to you, right? It looks like a good seam. Look closer. See that? It's not lined up perfectly. And that's okay. That's perfectly okay. Perfectly okay. Yeah, I know, I like that. If you can't see it at 3 feet, then try 6 feet. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so let's lay this out. Now, in this case, this has 3 pieces, okay? 1, 2, 3 pieces. I'm going to take this left piece, flip it over the right, pin it in place, and then I'm going to flip the right piece over the left piece. So I'm actually going to pin all 3 pieces at the same time. Making sure we nest these seams. There we go. And that row is ready. All right, let's do this one. Now, most of these, you're going to have 2 or 3 pieces, and you're going to either have one seam or do what I just did. And so pin 3 pieces at once. So here's another 3 one. Seams go to the left. And as I'm laying out, I'm double checking to make sure everything is correct. I'm making sure everything looks good. Now in this case, when I go left over right, you see how much longer this piece is than that piece? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay it, I'm going to fold, and fold again. So that I can see this open piece over here, so I can take this piece and flip it over there. Now, I believe there is one row in this one to where we're going to have more than 3 pieces. We're going to have 4 or 5 pieces in this case. And I'll show you what to do when we get to that one. All right, next. And this goes to the right. Oh, let's move that one over there. I'm going to make sure this all is good. Yes. Okay, so first, because there's 3 pieces, left over right. And then right over left. There we go. And those are good. All right, this one's got 3 pieces. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. This goes to the left. Still 3 pieces. Making sure this is all good. Yes. Yes, good. Because seriously, I flip pieces. I have a horrible, horrible habit of rushing and not double checking, especially with larger quilts. And I flip pieces. There we go. There's 2. All right, and then this one goes to the right. Now this one's only got the 2 pieces. So in this case, I want to go right over left to make sure that it's easy for me to iron it after I sew it. There we go. And then next. You know what I should do whenever I get back home again? I should make the kid come and join us. This goes to the left, because the kid will be out of school then. Or maybe she's not. Maybe she has her finals next week. I was surprised in Ontario how late the kids start and finish school. She either has, no, it's this week. Yeah, her finals are this week. go. And there. Now, this is the one I think that has more than 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, it has more than 3. So, in that case, we're going to sew this first. Okay, this goes to the right. 2, 3, 4. So in this case, it's got to make sure. So I go to the right, so I have to go right over left. Because it's not a 3, I have to pay attention to the way, yes, it is the eyes. I have to pay attention to the way that the seams are pointing and do that. All right, and then whenever I finish this pass, I have to pay attention to come back and redo this. I like that eyes. It's the eyes, not the eyes. You know, I'm kind of worried when I go back home in my studio next week, it's going to take me longer because I'm not going to all be standing and have everything all in one area. I'm going to have to like bounce back and forth in my studio to the different areas. To the left. Okay, left over right. So I'm afraid it's going to take me longer next week. Oh, they're not staying into your soul yet, but they will soon. Just wait until I do the next step and I start assembling those rows to the rows. Ooh, it's starting to get overcast outside. I wonder if we have thunderstorm warnings in this area again. It's the time of year for it. I honestly did not look at the weather. There we go, and this is to the right. Yes, we will have Marley's Squishy FaceTime tomorrow night. Oops, there we go. Oh, lovely. It is the time of year in the States. Most of the states go through lovely tornado warnings, flash flood warnings, all the things. All right, so I'm picking up this one. So this is the one I still have 2 of. I'm going to go ahead and sew this. Okay, so I'm sewing this one. Let's cut off my scrap fabric. Oops. There we go. Hurricanes aren't until August, right? End of August is when hurricane warnings start, I think. I'm trying to remember the seasons. And then I'm using my scrap again. There we go. Separating it. Taking the pins out. Oh, you really can't get them this early? I didn't realize that. All right, and let's do the ironing. If it starts to rain or thunder at all here, I will let you know because we will have a chance of it. See, there's the eyes, which you can't see because we'll have a chance of losing power. So I think we'll be okay, but I'll let you know. All right, so everything is good to go. So now, at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to group them, okay? So I'm going to group them up. So in this case, I'm going to take these 2, group them together. These 2, group together. These 2. Now, this has one on both sides and then one on top. I'm actually going to take the one on both sides and put it on the one on top. Same thing here. So I've grouped them all together with a single little one by itself. So these are all groups of 2, because remember, I like to group them because that's what I'm sewing together. So let's go ahead and sew these. Now, how I sew these, with the pins on either side. So I have a seam here and a seam here. So either side. What we're going to do is we're going to sew one side. Take the next one, sew one side. Now we're going to cut off the first one, and I'm going to turn it. And we're now going to sew the other side. Turn it, sew the other side. And it's a fast, efficient way to sew 3 pieces at one time. All right, let's do the next one. We've got this one here. So I'm going to take these, take the pins out, take the pins out. See, this is where I double check that all the things were sewn and everything is good. Whoops. All right, now let's do this one. Now we're going to trim it, turn it, and sew it. There we go. Taking this, setting it there, grabbing the next set, just like what I did before. Setting it aside, grabbing the next set of things. All right. Trim that. Take the pins out. Any questions on what I've done so far? On the layout, the pinning, the sewing? There's a lot less questions this week. You guys are getting it, aren't you? I mean, seriously, when you've done one of my patterns, you've done them all. The only exception is the Gift of the Goddesses pattern. That one is, I was making sure I didn't have to turn that one. That one has little tiny pieces. So instead of cutting my normal patterns, my lap size quilts, you cut 3.5 inch and 2 inch strips. That one you cut 2 inch and 1 1/4 inch strips. So your pieces are actually 3/4 of an inch. Go. Oh, I already separated it. Let me take my pins out. And last but not least, now this has got a 3. So I'm going to sew one side and leave it. And you'll see why in a minute. All right, no questions at all, right? You guys are just being quiet? You're sewing along with me? Just making sure chat didn't die on me and I have to refresh it again. All right, so that goes there. All right, let's go to our close-up. Oh, I may have to refresh it. No one's answered. Yes, no, chat good, chat bad. And the last thing I see is talking about hurricanes. All right, I'll go ahead and refresh it just in case. Because I don't like missing when you have questions. Yep, nope, the mods told me to refresh. Fantastic. Okay. I'm back in here. Did I miss anything? All right, so we have our rows now. So what I want to do is iron both of these. Nope, okay, no other questions. Fantastic. Now, what I want to do, because remember this is the 3, I want to iron that first one, and then move it to iron that second one. There we are. Now I'm going to find this row. It is actually row number 8. So I'm going to go to the left with row number 8. And then this one. Oh, me quilting and your mind is therapeutic. I am happy to hear that. I personally love the sound of the sewing machine. To me, it's really, really relaxing. It is very therapeutic. Now, this is my favorite part of the quilt. This is when everything starts to come together. So this is my absolute favorite part of the quilt. Nope, that's a car. I thought it was thunder for a second. All right, so at this point, what I'm doing is I'm finding all of the seams. So I'm finding, in this case right here, I have 2 seams that line up. I make sure they nest. I put a pin in there. And then I go back and put pins in the rest of the seams. Because we don't want this moving. Those seams that line up are the most important ones. But we want to make sure that none of the other seams move. So remember, if there's a seam on the bottom, I still put a pin in it. And that's so the seam doesn't flip open and have any issues. There we go. See, this is the fun part. I really, really love this part. All right, next. Let's do this one. Okay, this should go to the right. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I have a mistake. Look at what I did. You see right here where my finger is? I folded the fabric up and it didn't catch the entire seam. If I leave it like this, I will have a hole in my quilt top. So, how you fix it? You take out your lovely seam ripper. We're going to cut away the thread just at the folded over part. And it happens to me a lot. We're going to take this, we're going to flip it back and iron it. So I'm going to iron that right there. There it is. Now, we have to re-sew this area, and that's important. So I'm just pulling out the thread, that way it's not in the way. So what I'm going to do now is re-sew this area just right here. And I'm not going to flip the camera angle. And I'm actually going to flip around, because I had that piece in here. I'm going to flip it around and sew the last part of it. There we go. All right, so now I've redone that seam. Let's re-iron it. Let's make sure that it's good now. There it is. Beautiful. So whenever you fold over a seam, just fix it. Just do it. Oh, did it shake it? Did it shake that camera? You know what? That's maybe what's happening to the camera. Is it maybe touching the table, and while I'm sewing, it shakes it? That would make sense. All right, so this one goes this way. Yep. That looks good. All right. Let's pin this. So I find the seams. Oh, the table is shaking. Yeah, the table shakes whenever I... Oh, yes, because the table shakes because this is a folding table. So whenever I use the sewing machine on the folding table, you're right, it does shake. All right, so I find where those seams meet up, put a pin in there. Seams meet up, puts pin in there. There we go. There we go. I go back and put pins in all of these seams. Now, I'm not going to stack them. I'm just going to lay them out like this so I see how many combined strips I have. So there's 2. Next. Well, we only have that single seam on this one. There we go. And it goes that way. Oh, let me put my seam ripper away. I think it's bad luck for me if I have it sitting out all the time. It's like it once used. There we go. Iron that. Now, for this one, it goes this way. That looks good. I always flip the bottom row up to the previous row and then pin that in place. There we go. Let's pin this. Beautiful. Oh, ah! There we go. We've got there. And this part, whenever I talk to myself about there and here and oh, there we go and that stuff, I do that whether I'm streaming or not. For some reason, I like to talk to myself as I'm pinning. It kind of keeps me sane. And I know, talking to yourself keeps you sane, right? There we go. There's that one. Next. The eyes. There you go. Now the eyes can stare at your soul. It can stare right into your soul. All right, that goes to the right, that goes to the left. That is perfect. And yes, talking to yourself is the only way to get the right answer. I completely agree, Geeky Quilter. All right, let's find that, pin it in place, find that, pin it in place. There we go. For some reason, that seam right there on the bottom had flipped up, so I was fixing it. All right, so we've got that. And that. And here. There we are. There's another seam that's lined up. Oh, it's raining outside. I knew it looked overcast. No thunder yet. Just a little bit of rain. So we should be okay for power. All right, and here's the last one. There you go. All right, now we have 4 blocks here, but remember, we still have our 5th block over here that's over there on the machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to group these 2 up together, and this one I'm going to sew with the one that's already on the machine. Okay? So at this point, whoops. Let's go, oh, come on. Let's go to my Stream Deck. There we go. There we go. It's back on my Stream Deck. So I'm going to take this one right here and sew it with the one that's already on the machine. Hey, Snappy Panda, how are you today? Shino, how are you? So we're going to sew this one with this one. Now remember, because I had that issue with the flipped corner, the flipped fabric, I actually I went ahead and sewed the other side of this one. So I can lay this with this out when it's done. Now I'm not pulling this fabric through the machine. All I'm doing with my fingers is making sure it goes into the machine at a straight angle. That's it. I'm not pushing, I'm not pulling, I'm not doing any of that. Now here are the 2 groups together that we're doing. They get grouped together. So, because remember I grouped them up so that we know that those are the ones we pinned together. So this is going to go with that 3 one. Yes, you watch Casey Renee as well. Don't forget about Miss Casey Renee, who is an amazing, fantastic cosplayer. There we are. Let's go ahead and get this one sewn. For anyone just popping in, we are working on our official quilt along that people are joining us from around the world, as well as quilt stores. And we are doing each block. Today is block number 2, which is the hunting dog. Now you notice how I worked backwards. Now I'm going to this lonely little strip that's all by itself. I'm going to sew that, and I have 2 strips here. Because these 2 strips, remember, are going to get ironed and then sewn together. So I'm taking them off. And removing all the pins. And then laying them down. Now remember, if you fall behind, it is not a problem. Whether you're in a class right now, whether you're joining me live on Twitch, this video is going to be on YouTube first thing tomorrow morning. So as soon as I wake up, I'm going to get it downloaded and I'm going to get the video uploaded. As soon as the video is uploaded, I'll let you know on my social media. So you can go back, you can re-watch it, you can pick up where you left off. I know a few people that didn't sew at all last Monday that were watching from home. Instead, they took notes and then watched the YouTube. There we are. So let's remove this. Let's get the pins out of here. Whoops, we've got that. Yep. Now remember, every single Monday until we're done with this, all Mondays from 1 to 5 o'clock are going to be quilt-alongs, with the exception of the first week in August. So the first week in August it's going to be Tuesday instead of Monday. And the reason why it's going to be Tuesday is, remember, I'm going to be at Gen Con. All right, so we want to sew these two together, this group and this group. So I'll actually be driving from Indianapolis on Monday, which is why the class is on Tuesday. Now, the week of Labor Day week, there's not going to be any class at all, because I'm going to be at Dragon Con in Atlanta, and Dragon Con runs through Monday, so I'm actually not going to be driving back until Tuesday. All right, so we have this goes this way. So there's that way. Let me iron this one. So the week of Labor Day, there will not be any stream at all. So other than those 2 weeks, every single week on Mondays from 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern, we're working on this. If you have to miss a week because you have to be on vacation or any other reason, don't fret, it will be on YouTube. I'm checking my pattern to make sure that this all looks good, and it does. All right, let's flip this over and pin this in place. I don't know what you're referring to, Jose. What do you mean that they're extending it? I don't understand what that's in reference to. Okay, I still don't understand what you mean by extending it. What are they extending about Dragon Con? Because the days are the exact same as they've been every single year that I've been there. If you meant the dates are all still the same. They haven't added on any extra days. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and it's been that way for at least 4 years since I've done this. All right, we're pinning this. Whoops, this one needs to let's really get that in there. There we go, that one's met up. This seam goes here. That seam gets a pin there. Great, all right, and that one's done. Now let's get this one done. Now I've already sewn that bottom one, so I just need to sew these two combined. And then it's just a matter of getting the block together. There we go. There's that one. Now let's sew this. There we go. There it is. So we're taking this, flipping it over, and pinning into place. Nope, no, as far as I know, it's always been through Monday. Now, MomoCon, which is the anime show, which is over Memorial Day, that's not through Monday. That's only Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But no, Dragon Con, as far as I know, is always included Monday. But that's the reason why we are not going to have a stream at all that week. So it's going to give you a week to catch up. So if you're behind at all, it'll be an extra week to catch up to make sure you've got it. Now, if you have school, so if you are in middle, high school, or university, if you can't be part of those later weeks, don't worry. And remember, it's going to be on YouTube. So just because you can't catch me live doesn't mean you can't be part of this quilt along. We can still make it together, and remember, we have a Facebook group. If you want to be part of the Facebook group, you can see what everyone is doing. All right, so let's sew those two. There we go. All right. Now, the last 3. I'm not going to switch the camera for the next step for ironing and pinning these last 2 together. We'll make a big reveal for what it looks like. Which, you know what it's going to look like by now. You've seen the finished quilt. You've seen the block. All right. Now, at this point, we only have 2 steps left. We only have to finish our 3 sections, sewing that together, and then squaring the block up. And that's it. And we've done it. All right, so let's take these pins out. And take these pins out. And then we're going to sew that together. All right, we're getting to the end. Any questions? You've got this? Any questions on the process, on the pieces, on the rows? You guys got it, right? Now, oh, I forgot to mention, for these rows, it does not make a difference which way you iron it at all. You can iron it towards the top. You can iron it towards the bottom. If you want, you can even iron them open. It is completely up to you and how you want to iron it. My steam is almost gone, and I don't want to put more water in, which is why I turned it over and started ironing it from the back. Oops. I dripped a little bit of water when I did that. Oh, that's cute. I think I like this one better than the first one I did. I think the first one, it was a little bit crooked for some pieces. There we go. Yeah, let's get that out there. All right. I know. All right, so remember, I'm pinning all 3 together. So I'm going to take that center as the guide, and I'm going to take the bottom, and I'm flipping it up, and then pinning it into place. Now, whenever you are pinning like this, please, 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 please make sure you have a rotary mat like this. Have a mat, have something laying down that you can use as your base, because you don't want to have these pins dig into your table. You always want to have a surface. Oops. There we go. We've got that. All right. Now we're taking our top and flipping it down, turning it over. Silly water. Laying this out and pinning. All right, so as soon as I finish this, I'm going to sew each side. I'm going to give it one final iron, and then I will show you how to square the block up. Now, if you go by the math, if you have sewn each seam perfectly at a scant 1/4 inch, yes, Geeky Quilter, that does make a perfect surface. That is a surface that I'm using right now. If you do have, now, a scant 1/4 inch, I didn't talk about that yet this stream. A scant 1/4 inch is whenever you set your machine to go just a little bit shy of a 1/4 inch seam. Because if you figure you're ironing, if you do a perfect 1/4 inch and you iron it, it's actually not a 1/4 inch because your thread itself and ironing it is going to take a little bit of room. So if you do what's called a scant 1/4 inch, which is just shy, when you iron it, it then becomes a 1/4 inch. So let's say if you've done everything perfectly, if you've done a perfect scant 1/4 inch, if you've ironed it perfectly, if everything is perfect, okay, your block should come out to be about 18.5 by 18.5. What are the chances of that happening? Come on. Let's be honest. I will never, ever, ever have a perfect 18.5 by 18.5 inch block. The iron's going to stretch the fabric. I don't do a perfect 1/4 inch scant seam. I mean, in all honesty, I struggle to even get that 18 inches. So that's one of the reasons why the pattern testers and I decided to cut the block down to 18 inches. And that was something that we discussed about, well, what should we have the blocks as? You know, should we say it's 18.5, but then no one's going to have a perfect block? That may be frustrating for new sewers and new quilters. So that's why we decided to have that last step, bring it down to an 18. All right, this is it. This is it. So let's take our pins out. We're not going to use pins anymore. Let's flip this. Take these all out. Do, 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 do. All right, you ready? Let's do the last bit of ironing, and then we'll see our block. All right, ironing that out to that way. Now at this point, I'm really making sure that I iron this out as flat and as large as possible, both the left and right and up and down, because I need to square my block. So I really need to make sure that this is ironed out as much as I can get it to go. I really want to make sure that this is done correctly. All right, you ready for my wonky block before we square it up? There it is. There is our laughing dog. All right, let's square a block. I'm done with my pattern. I can put my pattern away. I can put, my actual pattern itself. All right, let's take a look. Here is my block. I'm actually going to shift this over. Let's unplug the iron. I didn't do that last week. Last week, I kind of forgot to unplug it early. And so my iron didn't cool down before I left, which was not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. All right, so let's move this over so you see the entire mat. This is all of our trash. All right, so here is our block, right? Got our block. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot my really long one. I've got my short ruler. I want my really long ruler. Let me go get it. It's in my bag over here. So at this point, that's when I use this, because my square up, as you see, is not quite big. It's kind of small. It doesn't quite fit in here, so I can't use that. Okay, so you see how this one is much bigger than what my actual block is? So let's do this. I want to first measure to see how close I got. So this is, oh, look at that, 18 3/4. Wow. by 18 1/4. Okay, so I may have done a pretty good job. Fantastic. This is I did a lot better than I did before. All right, so I'm actually going to turn this in order to square this part up. Okay? Hi, Chad. Hey, Fairy. How are you? All right, so let's square this up. So I'm going to trim the edge on the bottom. So we're going to line this up based upon some of the seams. Let's make sure that my seams are perfectly straight. And, yep, there's my seams. Let's do that. And there is my trash. Now, there we are. At this point, what I'm going to do is turn it this way. And this is the tricky part, right? So I'm going to line this up along the bottom. And where is the 18? The 18 is right here. Well, that's not very far. Let's cut a little bit off. Let's cut a little bit more off the bottom. That's perfectly fine. We can cut a little bit more off that bottom, just to make that top a little bit nicer. And scissors along the top. And along the bottom. There you go. Trash. Let's flip it around. Because squaring up a block this big is, now it's going to be a lot easier. It will be a lot easier at home on my, my large mat I have at the house. It's the small mat that's causing the problems. And I'll show you that next week. There we go. So here's the 18. Let's line this up. Okay, I've got the bottom lined up. What about the top? There we are, right there. Okay, let's make sure it lines up here. It does. Beautiful. Okay, that's nice. That's good. All right. Oh, look at that. That is nice. Okay, that's lined up. That's lined up. Great. I can finish doing this. Chen Su, thank you so much for that follow. I appreciate it. We are finishing up block number 2 for our quilt along. There we are, 18 inches. Beautiful. Now, let's do that one. Now, this one we said was about 18 1/4, right? So, let's turn this because I want more room. What I'm going to be doing is lining up the bottom and the top. Oh, look at that. That is a perfect 18 inches. How did I end up doing that? Seriously, I lucked out on that. It is so hard to do this on a small mat. All right, now, first thing I'm going to do is trim the edges. So I've got that edge trimmed. Let's flip it around. And we're going to trim this edge. Okay, that is all squared up. I'm going all the way out and basically trimming it and finding the smallest points. There we are, smallest points. Now, let's measure and see. This is perfectly squared up. It is 18 and change. So I have about an 1/8 of an inch. An 1/8 of an inch beyond 18 inches. All right, so let's just trim it up just a touch more. Trim a 1/16 of an inch off of each side. There we go. And we'll see if that gives us 18. Let's trim it on the other side. Let's see, 1/16 of an inch. Perfect. There we go. And let's measure it. Let's measure it. Whoops, wrong way. And look at that, 18. Perfect, 18 inches. So, it's not easy on a small mat, but you're able to do it. So there is our perfectly squared up block. So we have block number 2 of the quilt along in the books. Oh man, my chat froze. Chat froze. Come on, chat. What are you doing? I know I see people saying things, so let me go over to the computer and see what you're saying. Oh, just a bunch of emotes and stuff and saying it's cute. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, so block number 2. So now we have block number 1. This is what we did last week. Now remember, I have the extra fabric from last week in there in case we need it for future blocks. So there's block number 1, our bubble sore, the extra fabric I'm setting inside. And now we have block number 2, which is our hunting dog. So I'm going to take this extra fabric, remember, that we set aside from earlier, and I'm going to fold it in there. And now, this is how I'm traveling home with block number 1 and 2. If you are traveling to a quilt store, if you're watching me live at a quilt store right now, or even on a YouTube, if a quilt store shows this as a YouTube for the class, this is the easiest way to carry them from week to week, is folding it up in there so you don't lose any of these pieces. So that's the hardest thing. If you want, you can even take the edges and fold the edges over, just like this. And then that way you won't lose those pieces from week to week. There you are. You have little sandwiches. Thank you for joining me, guys. Thank you for being here. I super appreciate it. So, if you have any questions, concerns, like I said, we have a Facebook group. Join the Facebook group. This is going to be on YouTube. You can comment in YouTube, ask questions. You can even join our Discord, !Discord, if you want to have questions, concerns, or you just want to share your blocks. I want to see the blocks. Show them to me. I'm going to start posting those photos of blocks on my Facebook, in my actual Facebook group. So I may even show on Instagram. So I can't wait to see them. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. Thank you so much. Looney, I apologize. It is 5 o'clock. We're headed out. We're actually headed out. So if you're joining me now for the Raid for Looney, I apologize. We do have set times for this quilt along. So we're heading off. We are heading off to the next place. So thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to go find someone to raid. Please join us for the raid. We want to spread some positivity, some love onto somebody else. But thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. Exclamation raid sub. I love you guys. I love you so much. Thank you so much again for joining me. I appreciate it. Oh, wait. I don't have an end. Oh, there we go. End. Haha. We have an end thing.